let me know.
Hello and welcome everybody to WCBN Sports presentation of Michigan men's basketball. I'm Jared Greenspan here inside Crisler Center with my trusty partner Adam Bressler for a clash between the 4th-ranked undefeated Michigan Wolverines and the undefeated Seton Hall Pirates as a part of the annual Big East Big Ten Gavitt tip-off games. The Wolverines last took the court Saturday in Washington, D.C. They cruised to a win against Prairie View A&M in the inaugural Coaches versus Racism event, and for Michigan, it was a game that was never really in doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. I think many Michigan fans would have been concerned if anything but the expected occurred. Michigan went out there, they won pretty handedly, took a quite dominating early lead and coasted to an easy win. Got to trot out some new faces in front of the Washington, D.C. crowd, but nothing to be concerned about, and they cruised and actually went up in the rankings after that win.
And although they cruised over the weekend and cruised to an 88-76 season opening win over Buffalo, tonight marks a different story. Seton Hall comes in undefeated 2-0, unranked, but they are 35th in the KenPom rankings. They're a deep team, they go 10 deep, and they have a lot of players who should really pose a test for Michigan in this one.
Yeah, this is going to be the first real challenge of the season for the Michigan Wolverines, playing on the road at that neutral site in Washington, and then the home opener against Buffalo. Buffalo is a tournament team most seasons, but Seton Hall is the real first out-of-conference test, and they're the first team that could match potentially Big Ten opponents.
And the big news pregame here in Ann Arbor, a few hours before tip-off, news dropped that Michigan coach DeJuan Howard has agreed to a 5-year restructured contract extension that will keep him in the maize and blue through the 2025-2026 season. Good news all around on that front with DeJuan.
Absolutely. The financials of that deal have not been made public yet, but what stands out to me is the year of 2025-2026. I believe that is his son's graduation year, if I'm not mistaken.
It's all adding up.
Yeah.
Adam doing a little digging. Tonight also marks the 3rd meeting all time between these two programs, but they're not without any history. They memorably met in the 1989 National Championship game at the Kingdome in Seattle. Of course, an 80-79 overtime victory, thanks to a pair of last-second free throws from Ramil Robinson for Michigan, spurring the Wolverines to their first and only national championship.
Yeah, the Big East is a historic basketball conference, so it's always fun to see Michigan face off against one of them to kick off the season. And this year we got Seton Hall, gonna be a good one.
And we're about to segue into the national anthem here. Both teams lining up. A raucous crowd inside Crisler Center. We'll take a back seat here to the national anthem, and we'll be back right after the presentation.
The visiting Seton Hall Pirates. And your University of Michigan Wolverines. Fans, at this time, we invite you to join the Michigan men's basketball team as they stand to demonstrate their fight for unity and inclusion with the playing of Lift Every Voice and Sing, performed this evening by the Michigan Band under the direction of Dr. Richard Fry. Fans, please remain standing. Remove your caps and join us in singing as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Active duty and veterans may keep their caps on while rendering the military salute. The colors are presented this evening by the Michigan Marine Corps ROTC and performed once again by the Michigan Band.
All right, fans, you know what time it is. Let's light up Crisler. Open up Michigan lights. Let's light it up.
And Michigan and Seton Hall now about to unveil their starting lineups for tonight's game. For the Wolverines, it's the same starting five as usual. Devontae Jones at the point, Eli Brooks flanking him at the 2. Caleb Houston at the 3, Brandon Johns at the 4, and the big man in the middle, Hunter Dickinson. For Seton Hall, which enters this matchup at 2-0, it is Kadari Richmond at the point, Miles Kale at the 2, Jared Roden, who's battled an ankle injury, in at the 3, Alexis Yetna, the South Florida transfer, at the 4, and Ike Obiagu, the big man in the middle, at 7'2". So those are the 5 for Seton Hall, the 5 for Michigan. The Pirates, coached by Kevin Willard in his 12th season at the helm, famously lives in my hometown of Westfield, New Jersey.
It's personal for you today.
Indeed it is. The lights have turned off inside Crisler Center as the fans, a good crowd on hand here for a Tuesday night game, a late tip-off at little after 9 p.m.
Yeah, particularly in the student section. The student section is not an empty seat to be found when the other sections the students are putting them to shame for just a general admission, a lot of open seats there. But I think a lot of students who have been unable to return to Crisler due to COVID, they love being back in here. For many of them, unless they went to game 1, this is the first time back in over a year and a half.
And it was an electric atmosphere for that game last Wednesday against Buffalo. Should be the same and then some tonight against Seton Hall, a Power 5 opponent, and traditionally a very good program. They stumbled a bit last season in the COVID year, finishing 13-4, which snapped the streak of 5 consecutive NCAA tournament berths. But 2 good teams going at it tonight. Should be the first real test of the year for Michigan, who has a lot of new pieces. We'll see how well they truly gel tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned new pieces. The starting lineup is certainly new for them. They got Devontae Jones and Caleb Houston both in the lineup. But joining him is Eli Brooks, Brandon Johns, Hunter Dickinson. So a mix of familiar faces and some new pieces. Both the freshman Houston and the grad transfer Jones. We saw how important grad transfers were to the lineup last season. I'm curious to see if Devontae Jones could maybe match the expectations that the grad transfers last season made.
And Eli Brooks, the last member of Michigan's starting lineup, is announced. The teams are in their huddles, just about ready to go. Michigan and Seton Hall in the Gavitt tip-off games tonight inside Crisler Center. It's brisk outside, the weather's gotten cold, but balmy and electric inside the confines of Crisler Center, and we are almost ready to go.
The crowd is really getting loud too. You've got to love to hear this atmosphere. It's the thing we didn't have last season in both the Big House and Crisler.
And so as the teams are set to take the floor, we'll run through each team's starting five one more time. For the visiting Pirates, Kadari Richmond at the point, Miles Kale at the 2, Jared Roden at the 3, Alexis Yetna at the 4, and Ike Obiagu at the 5. For your Michigan Wolverines, it's the same starting five that Juwan Howard has trotted out there for the first 2 games of the year. Devontae Jones, the transfer guard from Coastal Carolina, mans the point. Eli Brooks, fifth-year senior at the 2. Caleb Houston, 5-star freshman, gets the start along the wing alongside Brandon Johns. And Hunter Dickinson, the reigning second-team All-American, is the center. So Seton Hall is wearing their road blues, blue tops, blue shorts. Michigan still in their huddle, awaiting to see their jersey choice for the night.
Yeah, still have the warm-ups on, waiting till the last moment to really pull this one out. Finally, the huddle's breaking.
And it's Mays.
It is Mays.
Mays tops and Mays shorts versus blue tops and blue shorts. Michigan and Seton Hall. Wolverines 2-0, ranked 4th in the nation. Seton Hall 2-0, unranked. They received 7 votes to be ranked, which, if you go by that, would slot them as the 38th best team according to the AP poll. Dickinson and Obiagu in the middle, about ready to get things going. Obiagu 7'2", 265. Can match Dickinson physically. Dickinson 7'1", 260. And here we go, Crisler getting loud for the jump. Dickinson and Obiagu awaiting the jump ball from the ref. And you cannot tell that it's a Tuesday night based on the sound of this crowd.
It feels like a Saturday at noon.
And the jump ball won by Obiagu, corralled by Jared Roden. Kadari Richmond takes it right to left. Devontae Jones starts out on him. Richmond drops it off right side for Yetna. Johns in his grill. Richmond swings it. It's deflected by Johns. It'll trickle out of bounds and stay this way. So active hands to start for Brandon Johns. Roden inbounding. Houston guards the inbound pass. Lobs it up top for Richmond. Around the Obiagu screen, moves right. Give along the wing for Kale. Kale with Brooks. Kale gets a high screen, moving left. Brooks shadows him. Kicks it back right side for Yetna. Lets the 3 fly. It's well short and air ball. Plucked out of the air by Jones. Off to the races. Underhand pitch to Brooks on the left wing. Waits for the Dickinson screen and now resets via Jones at the block end. Jones lobs to the right elbow for Dickinson. Puts it on the deck. Looking for Brooks. Good ball denial by Kale. Gets it to him, moving left. Hands off for Houston. Houston around the Dickinson screen. He drives right, slithers the baseline, drops it inside for Johns. His layup is short, and Alexis Yetna rips down the board.
Great ball movement, just unable to finish.
Richmond comes the other way for Seton Hall, moving left after a screen. Kicks it back for Yetna. Swing in the corner, Roden. Roden with Brooks. He'll pull up off the bounce for 3. That's short. Right side board goes to Jones.
Jones already with 2 rebounds.
Jones accelerates, kicks in the corner, Johns. Passed up an open 3, gives way up top for Houston. Push pass on the right side, Brooks. And Brooks with the turnover, Roden the steal. 2-on-1, up ahead, Kale. Sidesteps Brooks at the rack and lays it in for 2. And Seton Hall on the board first, 90 seconds into this one.
Not much Michigan could do about that fast break other than not make the turnover to cause it.
Brooks handling up top, gets a high screen from Johns, another one from Dickinson moving right. Pulls back, swing it for Johns, underneath Dickinson. Got Yetna on him, turnaround, jump hook is good for Hunter Dickinson, and we're tied at 2. 2-2, 2 minutes into this one. Richmond moving left, working with Jones. Kicks it back for Yetna, swings on the right side, Kale. Kale with Brooks. Has a high screen from Obiagu, kicks it back right side, Roden. He'll try another 3. That one is good. Jared Roden drills a 3. The 30% three-point shooter gets his second one to fall. Houston high on the left wing, slips a screen, drives, Picks up his dribble, gives for Dickinson. Left side Jones curls around the screen, gets inside. Foul line floater up and in for Devontae Jones.
Those are the types of shots we saw plenty of last season, and for Michigan fans, it's glad to see that he's still making them now.
Seton Hall with the 5-4 lead. 2.5 minutes gone by here in this ball game. Miles Kale on the left side hands off Richmond, slips the screen, working with Jones, stutter steps, weaves across the lane, hop steps, forces it up, and Dickinson sends it back. Jones with the ball, off to the races the other way, right side Houston. Houston, up fake, 18-foot pull-up, off the heel, no good. Dickinson grabs the foul line, rebound, lowers his shoulder, drops it off Johns, goes up strong and lays it in.
If I am not mistaken, Dickinson, in a span of 20 seconds, had a block, a rebound, and an assist.
The big man in the middle doing it all and hands Michigan a 6-5 lead. 3 minutes gone by. Richmond on the left side, give up top Kale, draped by Brooks, curls to his right. Swings it back left side for Richmond, the 6'6 transfer out of Syracuse. Richmond around the screen, right side for Roden. He already has 1-3. Brooks high on him. Shot clock down to 8. Roden gets a screen from Yetna moving right, kicks it back for Yetna. Yetna fakes, he moves right. 3 to shoot. Yetna for Kale, he's got a heave, and he hits. Miles Kale with a desperation bomb to put Seton Hall up 8-6. Jones the other way, looking for an answer. Juwan Howard telling his team to push. Jones using a Dickinson screen, drops it off up top for Dickinson. Thought about the back door. The big fella takes a 3. That's off the mark, no good. Roden skies for the rebound.
You saw over the offseason, Dickinson took to social media to showcase his 3 ability.
Kale on the other end, he tries another 3. That's no good. Dickinson tips the rebound to Brooks. Eli Brooks handles the other way. Cross-court feed Jones. Jones dices inside with the sidestep shovel feed. It's Dickinson! The big fella rocks the rim with a hammer. And we're tied at 8. Oh, what a beauty from Devontae Jones.
Fakes the shot, tips it behind his back straight to Dickinson, who slammed it on down through the hoop to tie it at 8.
And Crisler Center already ready to explode. Seton Hall the other way. 4.5 gone by, tied at 8. Roden around the screen, drops it inside Obiagu. Houston got his hand in there, and he touched it last, out of bounds. That'll segue us into immediate timeout. A rocking start inside Crisler Center, 8-8 the score. Michigan Seton Hall with 15:22 left in the first half.
Pretty even between these two teams so far. What Seton Hall is really lucking out with is their ability from 3. Already on the day, they've attempted 5 3-point shots, and only two of them landed, so 40%. But that's enough to keep this game tied with a bit under 5 minutes into the first quarter.
Adam and I were discussing pregame how we felt like this game had the potential to be a really good one and a really fun one. And boy, have the first 4 minutes and 38 seconds lived up to our expectations. A frenetic pace back and forth, both teams draining shots. Michigan with a pair of tough, splendid finishes underneath.
Yeah, Dickinson has 4 points already, an assist, a rebound, and a block.
And most notably, his counterpart, Ike Obiagu, the 7'2", 265-pound center, has been neutralized on both ends of the floor. Nothing across the stat sheet. We were wondering coming in, could Obiagu at least tame Dickinson? And so far the answer is no.
Yeah, fortunately for Seton Hall, Kale has been able to put up some points and got an assist as well. So kind of filling in that gap. But back on Michigan's side, things are really being distributed throughout the team. You got Johns with 2 points, Jones with 2 points. Jones is really making a name for himself on defensive rebounds. 3 defensive rebounds already, plus an assist. Something to keep an eye on from the new guy on the Wolverines.
For Seton Hall, Miles Kale has 5, Jared Roden has 3. Kale averaged a career high 11.6 points per game last year, started all 27 games. Roden, meanwhile, was even better. He averaged 15 points a game and 7 boards, and in the Big East tournament, those numbers exploded to 21 and 11. So he is a player really looking to take that next step, and both Roden and Kale, arguably Seton Hall's 2 most dynamic players, are each off to really good starts.
Yeah, Michigan, they that's going to be the key to keeping this game easy for them, is whether they could maybe not neutralize them, but at least keep them in check and control them. So far, a 3-point for Kale. He has 2 attempts and he has 5 points total. I know it's only 4 minutes and some change into this one, but Michigan is likely looking to maybe make a change in how they defend him.
And if you're just joining us, we're at the under 16 timeout. An electric start to this one, tied at 8 apiece. Michigan and Seton Hall, part of the Gavitt tip-off games. Only the 3rd time ever that these two programs have clashed. One, of course, being that memorable 1989 championship games. Both teams have now taken the floor. Michigan with the same 5. It's Jones, Brooks, Houston, Johns, and Dickinson. Changes on the other end for Seton Hall. Trey Jackson, Tyrese Samuel in the game. So is Jameer Harris and Bryce Aiken, flanking Miles Kale. Aiken inbounding underneath the basket. It's caught in the left corner by Kale and knocked out of bounds by Houston. Last touch by Houston.
That's what you love to see from Michigan, is on every play, every moment, they're playing 110%, even if it's hopeless or doesn't
already
do much.
3 deflections for Michigan. Aiken, pocket feed left side. Jackson lumbers inside, goes up strong. It's a wild shot. Plucked out of the air by Jones, looking to push. 5 on 4, and Jones throws it away. Was looking for Johns on the right wing, and Johns had intentions of crashing inside. And so that opportunity goes to Spoils.
That's one of the things early in the season you kind of expect. Miscommunications, especially with a new player coming into this Wolverines program. Hopefully they'll get out the kinks early.
Aiken gets the handoff on the left wing, matched up with Jones. Moves around the screen, drives right, pulls up for an 18-footer off the bounce and drills it. That's Bryce Aiken, the graduate student guard from Harvard who has battled injuries. And he's fully healthy now and looking to make an impact for Seton Hall. Jones at the block end with Aiken, drives right. He's walled off on the wing. Swings it into the right wing for Brooks. Brooks on the pull-up from the elbow. High arcing shot off the heel, no good. Dickinson the back tap to Jones. Shovel feed left side, Brooks. Thought about a 3, passed it up. Has Jackson on him, gets a screen, now draws Samuels. Brooks moves right, turns the corner, scoop shot off the window, it's good for Eli Brooks. And Michigan ties the game at 10. Jackson swings left side for Kale with Houston, moves right, draws a switch onto Johns. Push pass right side, Harris. Harris drives, kicks it out. Kale lets the 3 fly, that's no good. And Jones outskies Dickinson for the board.
Jones has 5 defensive rebounds already in this game.
Jones weaving his way down the right alley, keeps the dribble alive, lays it up and lays it in. Oh, what a crafty play by Devontae Jones. Zigzagging through the heart for a pair. And it's 12-10 Michigan, 6 minutes gone by here in this one. Kale up top goes to Jackson. Push pass right side, it's Harris. Harris with Brooks, lowers his shoulder, gets to the block. Jones brings the help. Harris stymied, kicks it out, Samuels. Samuels drives on Dickinson. He is rejected, but a foul. And so Tyrese Samuel will be rewarded for his aggression.
Jawan is fired up after that. He had some words with the referee. But looks like we have the first substitution about to come in as well.
And of note for Seton Hall, Bryce Aiken was down for a little bit and then just jogged off the court and went straight up the tunnel, so that's not good news for them. Jared Roden and Kadari Richmond re-enter for Seton Hall as Samuel will go to the line for 2. A 31% free throw shooter a year ago. And he's short on the first. First substitution of the game for Michigan. It's the enigmatic Musa Diabate, 5-star freshman, who replaces Hunter Dickinson. Second free throw upcoming for Samuels. Michigan up 12-10. Now 12-11 as Samuels splits a pair. 13:29 left to play here in the first half. Jones left to right down the middle. He's guarded by Richmond. Hands off left side for Houston. Gets a Diabate screen moving right. Shovel feed underneath Brooks. And he's fouled by Samuels. Brooks was lurking all alone on the defense. Houston found him. And he'll head to the line for 2.
First trip to the line tonight for the Wolverines. looking to maybe extend the lead by 2.
12-11 the score. Michigan on top. 13-17 left in the first half. Eli Brooks, a 91% free throw shooter a year ago, and he drills the first one.
Michigan could not ask for a better player to have at the line.
And second free throw up and in for Brooks. Makes them both count. 14-11, Michigan on top. Bit of a full court press here for the Wolverines. Seton Hall struggling with it. Loose ball. Brooks diving on the court. Still loose. Roden is there. Brooks fighting for it with Harris now. And I believe it's going to be either a jump ball or a timeout. We'll see what was rewarded first.
Michigan was certainly looking to get a timeout. I don't know if they got it in time. Let's see.
They caught Seton Hall sleeping, putting Caleb Houston and Devontae Jones in the backcourt, deploying a bit of a full court press. And Eli Brooks did get the timeout.
That's what you love to see. 7 minutes into this game, Michigan is certainly in it, but they're fighting on every play. They're not giving up any opportunities, and in fact, quite the opposite. They're looking to catch Seton Hall sleeping. And I know it might be tough, might be unnecessary in this game rather, but later in the season when it might be a close game at the end against, say, an Illinois or Indiana, that is going to be the difference maker. So you love to see that now.
You know for certain Juwan Howard is going to mention that play in his postgame presser later. Brooks sprawling on the deck, fighting with a pair of Pirates for the rock. So we're out of that quick impromptu timeout. Again, Michigan has Jones, Brooks, Houston, Johns, and Diabate. And the Wolverines have a 3-point lead with 13:05 to play here in half number 1. Jones left to right, tosses it along the right wing for Houston. Drops it up top, Johns, pressed way out there by Jackson. Johns picks up his dribble, looking, finds Jones on the left wing. Diabate in the area, Jones calls off the screen, loops it to Musa. Musa fakes the jumper, drives, spinning inside, up fake, and he stripped but foul.
Michigan got lucky to get that foul call at the end there. Going to the line. We saw some struggles from the free throw line on Saturday and in the first game. And even at the end of last season, that was one of the issues that finally took them down against UCLA. So something that I'll be keeping an eye on is whether they're able to maybe address some of those issues from the line this season.
Musa is a part of those, a 43% free throw shooter, 2 games into his college career. And he's too strong in the first one, off the heel, no good. Substitution here for Seton Hall. Tyrese Samuels takes a seat, and Ike Obiagu re-enters. So interesting to see how Michigan plays this, with Obiagu in the game and Dickinson not. Could be a bit of a mismatch on both sides of the ball. Second free throw on the way for Diabate is true. And Michigan has a 15-11 lead, 12:46 to play here in the first half. Some more full court press action here for the Wolverines. This time Seton Hall gets it across. Roden back for Richmond, swing it left side. Jackson, handoff Morris. Morris calls his own number off the bounce and dials in a 3. You cannot leave Jameer Harris alone. Led the nation in 3-pointers last season per game.
He had the swagger as well with that shot.
Jones kicks it left side. Johns passed up an open 3. Takes an 18-footer instead. It's an air ball. But it touched Harris along the baseline. It grazed off his jersey. Talk about a fortuitous bounce for Michigan.
That is a lucky, lucky break for the Wolverines. Terrible shot. They're lucky to still have possession.
And let's see if they can make good of the gift. It'll be Jones to inbound. Lobs it left side. Johns, who committed the volley, catches it. Along the left wing, looking for a guard. Good ball denial by Richmond. Gets it to Brooks, way up on the left wing with 7 to shoot. Brooks on the crossover, drives, sidestep, drops it up for Johns. Goes up strong, blocked by Obiagu. Brooks gets it back, fires from the foul line, off the heel, no good. Musa snares the rebound. And it's a fresh shot clock for Michigan. Under 12 to play, Michigan up 15-14 here in the first half. Jones weaves around the screen and a whistle and a foul. It's an illegal screen on Musa Diabate. And
you can tell it's early in his college career. That's an issue, but he'll grow out of it with more experience with NCAA referees and D1 Big Ten guys.
The ill-advised screen by Diabate sends us into the under 12 timeout. Michigan clenching a 15-14 lead in the early going with 11:49 to play here in the first half. Wolverines shooting 46% from the field, Seton Hall 45%.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Dickinson's going to come back in after this timeout. I'm not a coach, but if I were, I probably would put him in to match up with Seton Hall's big man.
You saw Obiagu. I don't know if he got a piece of that John's dunk attempt, but he most certainly altered it at the rim.
Yeah, just his presence alone was a factor, even if he ended up not touching it. But Dickinson was looking good for his first couple of minutes in the game.
And it looked as if before the whistle and the timeout that Michigan was planning on putting Terrence Williams into the game for the first time tonight. We'll see if that holds true on the other side of the timeout. Again, we're at the under 12 timeout, 11:49 gone by here in the first half. Michigan with a 15-14 lead. And so far, I think this is the test that we imagined Michigan getting in this ball game from a good, perhaps underrated Seton Hall team. They're aggressive, they're veteran-laden, they have a lot of height, and they weren't going to be pushed over in this one. Jared wrote in at a quote that said, "We're just out here trying to make statements to everybody." He said that after their win over Yale on Sunday. And so far, they're hanging with the 4th-ranked team in the country.
Yeah, this is Michigan's best opportunity to make a statement early in the season. They go on the road to Chapel Hill. That'll be a huge game for the Wolverines, especially with the AP audience definitely looking at that one. They're going to Vegas for the Roman main event. Depending on who they end up facing off, that could be an early season matchup, depending on who they get. And then outside of that, they face Minnesota in a couple weeks for the first Big Ten. But not a ton of really difficult opponents to open up this season.
This is a test, and it's shaping up to be just that. 15-14 Michigan in front, 11:49 to play in the first half. As we're at the under 12 timeout. It's been a frenetic game, a very exciting game. Both sides playing scrappy basketball, very intense. And they're breaking their timeout huddles right now. The lineup for Seton Hall is Jackson, Richmond, Obiagu, Harris, and Roden. Meanwhile, the 5 for Michigan, it's Jones, Brooks, and Houston, the 3 who have played the entirety of the game so far, along with Diabate, and then, as we speculated, Terrence Williams II. Richmond takes it right to left for Seton Hall, sporting the blue jerseys. Angles towards the right wing, is shadowed by Jones. Richmond barking out orders, gets a screen from Obiagu, moves left. Push pass left side is Harris. He lets it fly. That one won't go. And Jones flies in for the rebound. Circles left to right the other way.
That shot from Harris was just a heat check.
Houston has a mismatch on Obiagu. Now gets a screen, pushes it right side for Jones. Shot clock at 15. Houston on the left wing attacks, drives, scoop shot, swallowed up. Obiagu with the block. Seton Hall with the save, and it goes to Richmond. Richmond's got 1 man to beat. Goes at Jones, pulls up for an 18-footer, sent back by Musa. Michigan the other way, an electric block from Diabate. Jones moves left, curls, takes it himself, blocked by Obiagu. Seton Hall the other way, Richmond into the corner, Roden from the far side, his 3-pointer, that won't go. Brooks with the box out, and Richmond's called for an over-the-back foul.
This is a defensive battle. We already have a lot of blocks in this game relatively. Each team has 2, which isn't a ton, but only 9 minutes in the game, I guess. It is something to keep an eye on, especially back-to-back.
And that's 2 blocks now for Obiagu, who after a quiet start has made his presence felt. Caleb Houston left to right, walks it across, hands off to Jones at the end. He's left alone. Pulls back, swing left side for Diabate at the elbow. Diabate looking for Houston, fakes, now fakes, drives right, shoulders into Obiagu, walled off, hoists up a wild shot, that won't go. Williams grabs the rebound, goes back up, blocked again from the blind side by Obiagu. Harris the other way down the far side, gets a high ball screen moving left. Pushes it along the left wing, Richmond, entry feed into the post. Yetna bodies into Williams, gets inside, layup is short. Williams tips the rebound, now trying to save it, he can't. And it's off of him, it'll stay this way, Seton Hall basketball. Michigan now 0 of the last 7 from the field. I stole Adam's words from his mouth.
Yeah, 2 of the last 10, but fortunately Seton Hall is 0 of the last 4, so been a scoring drought for both teams. It's just been a defensive battle.
A slugfest indeed, and some strong protecting of the rim in the interior on both sides. Obiagu and then Diabate. Back and forth we go. Inbounding for Seton Hall is Aiken. He's back on the court. Obiagu hands off right wing Roden. Roden trapped by Diabate. Swings it left side. Harris with Williams. Tried to draw contact. Good job by Williams. Yetna dribble handoff up top. Moving left is Roden. Shot clock at 5. Roden with Brooks on the crossover. Moves right. Foul line. Pull up contested is good. And Jared Roden leapfrogs Seton Hall on top. 16-15 with 10 to play in the first half.
Finally breaking the scoring drought, too, for either team.
Let's see if Michigan can punch back. Terrence Williams flips it left wing Houston. Further along that side for Jones, straight by Aiken. Jones around the Diabate screen. He probes, kicks it back left side. Williams passes up a 3, pulls up off the bounce, 18-footer, left it short. Michigan's been doing a lot of that, settling for deep 2s and passing up the 3s. Aiken high steps the other way. Up top, flips left side, Roden around the screen. He takes a contested 2. Off balance, it's pure. Jared Roden beginning to percolate, and it's 18-15 Seton Hall.
Michigan's shots just aren't landing. They're shooting 33% compared to 42 for Seton Hall.
Diabate up top, looking to provide a spark, someone for Michigan to end the rut. Jones on the left wing. He's played the whole game so far. Jones drives, turns the corner, drops it off for Brooks. Kicks it left side. Williams fakes, takes a step back, contested 3, and it won't drop in. Diabate fighting for the rebound, and its last touch off Obiagu. But the stagnant offense continues for Michigan.
We got Dickinson checking in for Musa. First time back in since about 15 minutes left in the first half.
And let's see if he can ignite this offense. 18-15, Michigan's in a scoring rut, and they now trail by 3.
He is leading the team in points, and he only has 4. I guess he's tied.
Jones nearly throws the inbounds away, was looking for Dickinson to cut down the heart of the lane, and Obiagu deflected it. So we'll do that one over again. Juwan Howard is standing and screaming almost at half court, about as far up as he can go. Jones inbound right side Houston. He's been quiet tonight. Flips left side Brooks. Separation for 3. Won't go. Dickinson, the tip out of bounds. He stumbles into the ref, and it's going back to Seton Hall.
Michigan just unable to make it click. Has 0 of their last 10 from the field.
And it's a 7-0 run for Seton Hall, but not because of their own offensive prowess. That run has spanned 3 minutes and 44 seconds. The Wolverines haven't scored. Obiagu up top. Baseball feed left side goes to Aiken with Jones. Aiken jab steps, fires right side for Harris. Harris working with Brooks. Stutter step, turns the corner, lobbing underneath for Yetna. It's broken up. Michigan off to the races. Brooks, right side Jones. Jones side steps, hangs off glass, too strong. And then Brooks commits a foul on Roden after grabbing the rebound. Michigan looked like it had a 3-on-1, and it just bungled it.
Yeah, couldn't capitalize on the fast break. And Michigan's offensive rut will continue. They haven't scored in the last 4 minutes and 22 seconds of game clock.
And Brooks seemed to have Houston cutting down the left side of the court and opted to feed Jones on the right side instead, and he got stuck in traffic.
The Wolverines are lucky to be only down 3.
Roden up top, shakes Houston, pulls up, 18-footer contested way off to the left. It thuds off the backboard. Jones pushing, right side Brooks. Nothing doing in transition. Spins off a Dickinson screen, gets another hedge, moves left. Brooks, foul line, pull up, flip shot, good. And at long last, it's over. Michigan down 1. They snap the scoreless streak of over 4 minutes.
And that is the spark to get the student section loud. The Maze Rage is on their feet yelling.
Aiken pulls trigger on a deep 3 off the mark, no good. Dickinson rips down the rebound. Outlet Brooks, Michigan looking to push. Brooks handling on the left wing around the Dickinson screen. Same shot, pull up, same result. Eli Brooks back to back. Michigan back in front, 19-18, 7.5 to play in the first half. Aiken on the left side feeds Kale. Up top Yetna. Does Seton Hall have an answer in them? Obiagu back to the basket, hands off Aiken, curling left. Aiken with Jones into the corner, skip feed, Yetna for 3. No good, strong side board reeled in by Jones. Can Michigan continue to build off this recent stretch? Jones around the screen moving left. Pulls back, right side feed goes to Williams, drops it off for Dickinson. He's got Yetna on him. Dickinson leans into Yetna, Obiagu brings a double, feeds Williams in a crowd, layup won't go. And Roden the other way, looking to push. Kale down the far side, goes at Houston and dribbles it off his foot, or not. They'll say Houston got a piece of it. And that'll take us to the under 8 media timeout. 6:51 to play in half number 1. Michigan back in front, 19-18. A better last minute or so for the Wolverines.
Yeah, Michigan is lucky that Seton Hall has not been able to land any shot the last 2 minutes and 34 seconds. And Michigan, even though they made 2 shots, they're 2 of their last 14, which is crazy to think about that they actually have the lead at this moment.
And it's the steady hand of Eli Brooks, the 5th-year senior, who leads the way with 8 points. When Michigan desperately needed someone to step up, Brooks provided the impetus. Nearly identical foul line jumpers in back-to-back sequences to snap that scoring rut. Now the question is, can Michigan really get going out of this next timeout?
I think having Dickinson in was pretty important, because even if he didn't make an appearance in the box score, his presence was felt on the court. He was able to draw a man, set some picks, potentially open up the court, and give room for Brooks to get some space to make those shots.
Yeah, and I'm looking for Caleb Houston to get going. He's played the whole game, all 13 minutes and 9 seconds, and basically been invisible. He's 0 for 2 from the field, no points. Seton Hall doing a nice job taking away his prowess, which is that 3-point shooting. But Michigan's got to get him involved in other ways because he is so pivotal to their offensive effort. So 19-18 the score, a fun one unfolding in front of us. Michigan with the lead, 6:51 to play in the first half inside Crisler Center.
If our stat sheet is correct, it looks like Musa is going to check on in. So Michigan is actually going to have a 2 big man set, something we saw a little bit of last season with Dickinson, but I'm curious to see how it'll match up with Musa.
And maybe that's a counter by Juwan Howard to contend with Seton Hall's height in the interior. They've been playing physically, swallowing Michigan up a lot. They did so on Williams' last layup attempt. So a tactical move perhaps by Juwan Howard. 6:51 to play in the first half. Michigan with a 19-18 lead in what has been an entertaining one, to say the least. A defensive slugfest, lots of blocks, lots of strong physical play. And Michigan getting the test we imagine them receiving in tonight's ballgame.
Yeah, this win isn't going to be handed to them. It's not going to be easy. They're going to have to fight for it and earn it. And so far, even though their shots aren't landing like they want it to, they are fighting on every play. We see them getting in the face of their opponents, playing full court press, diving for each ball and loose ball, and going for the rebounds. Michigan has 19 rebounds already. Compared to Seton Hall, they only have 10 at the moment.
And as much as Michigan's offense has struggled, its defense deserves praise, holding Seton Hall to 35% from the field and just 3 of 11 from 3. So both teams are out of their timeout. 19-18 Michigan with the lead. 6:51 left to play in the first half. Kadari Richmond will inbound underneath the Pirates basket for Seton Hall, guarded by Terrence Williams the second. Richmond searching, still looking, fires it to half court. Diabate nearly got a hand on it. Instead, Jackson steps into a 3 and drains it. Talk about a swing of events. And the Pirates leapfrog in front, 21-19. Jones down the middle, met right at the half-court line by Aiken. Drops it away left side for Brooks. Brooks for Diabate with Jackson, and it's deflected. Still winds its way to Jones. Jones moving left, and a whistle and a foul. I believe that's going to go on Jackson for holding Diabate on the roll.
Yeah, and so far, assuming this is on Jackson, that will be the 4th team foul for Seton Hall. Michigan only has 3. 6.5 minutes remaining, so something to keep an eye on before halftime.
Jones calling out a play directed from the sideline up top. Loops it right side for Diabate. Dangerous pass. Diabate wrestles it away. Still looking for a teammate. Lobs it left wing. Jones pestered by Kale. Shot clock at 7. Brooks starts baseline. Drops it inside Dickinson. In a crowd. Stuffs it home. Hunter Dickinson with the rack attack. And we're tied at 21.
That must have been the play they drawn up. You could tell how much they practiced that, and it worked perfectly.
Indeed it did. 6 minutes to play. Michigan draws even at 21. Richmond stutter steps, moves left, draws a switch with Diabate on the crossover, drives, gets inside, stops, kicks it up top. Jackson, he fakes, got caught in the air, throws it right side. It's corralled by Samuels. Samuels on the wing to Kale. Kale drives on Musa across the lane. Hook shot might have been deflected. Nonetheless, it's no good. The rebound pinballed around. It's going to Michigan.
That was a close one. Michigan is lucky to be getting the ball for this inbound pass.
Substitutions for the Wolverines. Houston and Johns enter. That means Jones takes his first seat, so Brooks will be manning the one. Tied at 21, 5:37 to play here in the first half. Brooks angles to his left, lobs it along the left wing for Dickinson, gets it back, curling to his right. Brooks looking for Dickinson, gets it to him on the block. Leans into Samuels, lefty hook, a nice soft touch off the front rim and in. And Michigan in front, 23-21. Richmond on the far side brings it across into the forecourt. Jackson, left wing, Aiken. Aiken moves right. Diabate doubles. Aiken nearly dragged his pivot foot. Should have been a travel. Richmond hop steps into the lane. Kicks it out left side. Jackson for three. It's good. Trey Jackson again with his second triple. And after the apparent missed call, Seton Hall capitalizes and goes in front.
Seton Hall is really making Michigan pay from beyond the arc tonight.
Brooks moving right, Aiken all over him. Searching, gets it into the block for Dickinson. He'll go to work again on Samuels. Cross-court feed, Houston on the wing. Catch and fire for three. Short. Dickinson taps the rebound. John's trying to save it and throws it right to the Seton Hall bench, where it's snared by an assistant coach. And another empty trip for Michigan. And Kobe Buffkin will enter the ball game, the freshman from Michigan. 24-23, Seton Hall with the lead. Devontae Jones tried to get to the scorer's table, but was too late. So Richmond brings it across. Buffkin on him. Richmond curls left after a high ball screen. Kicks it back for Samuel. Samuel dancing with Dickinson on the crossover. Drives left, slips inside, in a crowd, doesn't get it to go, and Buffkin grabs the board. Kobe looking to push. Right down the middle.
Already making his presence known after checking in.
Houston on the wing, he's trying to get going. Pushes it up top for Brooks. Brooks directing traffic, calls for a Dickinson screen, angles left. Brooks keeps the dribble alive, circles the baseline into the corner. Houston, 4-3, short. And Samuel snares the rebound, so the struggles continue for Caleb Houston.
Michigan is 0 for 5 from beyond the arc.
Aiken curls right, goes behind his back, weaves across the lane, forces it up with the left, wild shot, too strong. Dickinson corrals the rebound. Brooks brings it across down the far side with a pep in his step. Slips the Dickinson screen. Give up top for Dickinson now. Searching, still searching, backdoor left side. Brooks to the rack, scoop shot is good. Eli Brooks with the fancy finish.
That was a pixel perfect pass right between two defenders. An inch to the left or the right, it would have been intercepted.
25-24, Michigan's jump back in front in this seesaw affair. Kale to Richmond on the right side. Buffkin pokes it loose. Houston the steal. Houston pushing. Right side Buffkin. Buffkin to the rack. Layup is good. Kobe Buffkin. How about that? The freshman gets it done on both ends. He's flexing. Michigan's in the lead, 27-24, and Seton Hall has called a timeout.
Michigan has finally found their spark after that struggle midway through this first half. With 3 minutes, 13 seconds left, they now lead by 3 and force Seton Hall to use their first timeout of the game.
And how about that? It's Kobe Buffkin, the freshman guard, 6'4", has made a minimal impact in the first 2 games. Did score 8 points against Prairie View A&M. A lot of that coming in garbage time, but he has his number called when Michigan desperately needs a spark, and Buffkin has provided it. Action on the defensive end, getting his hands in passing lanes, and then a nifty finish in transition here to put Michigan up by 3.
And I'm curious to see what lineup they go with for the final 3 minutes of the half, whether they keep this lineup in, whether they put the starters back in. I think you got to keep Buffkin in.
You've got to, yeah.
He's been the spark plug that has finally got this offensive ignition that we have seen the past 2 minutes.
And Kobe Buffkin, the Grand Rapids native, a 4-star recruit, and Michigan's 3rd McDonald's All-American in this uber-talented freshman class. And he is really starting to turn this game in Michigan's favor, so I agree, you've got to keep him in. We'll see what Juwan Howard does. I would be shocked if he's not out on the court. Nonetheless, Michigan with the 27-24 lead, 3:13 remaining here in the first half. The pendulum has swung back in Michigan's favor after a back and forth play has unfolded throughout this first half. Seton Hall scrappy, putting up a fight. Michigan looks ready for the challenge for the most part.
Michigan, they are 0 for 5 from 3, yet their field goal percentage isn't terrible. They're shooting 40%, just as they can't hit any of the big ones. On the other end, Seton Hall is just throwing up a ton from 3, and they're 5 for 13. So even though they have a pretty low three-point percentage, they just shoot so many of them, it's making an impact in this game.
Bombs away for the Pirates. Meanwhile, Michigan, the leading scorer is Brooks with 10. Dickinson follows him with 8. Efficient nights for those two as well. Dickinson 4 of 5 from the field, Brooks 4 of 7. The media timeout nearing an end. Both teams wrapping up their huddles just now. We're at the under 4 timeout. If you're just joining us, well, you've missed a lot. Michigan with the 27-24 lead, a game that has gone back and forth. Michigan's largest lead has been 4. On the other hand, Seton Hall's largest lead has been 3, so no team has been able to pull away from the other. Michigan riding some momentum, though. We'll see if they can create some distance between themselves and the Pirates before we head into halftime.
Yeah, and with that, the cheerleaders come off the court. Michigan finishes up their huddle. Seton Hall already has their 5 on the court. And let's see who Jawan's going to go with for the final couple minutes of the first half.
And it is Kobe Buffkin out there, along with Devontae Jones, Caleb Houston, Brandon Johns, and Hunter Dickinson. Seton Hall, meanwhile, rolling with Jackson, Richmond, Roden, Obiagu, and Harris. It's the Pirates basketball down by 3, 3:10 to play in the first half. Jackson catches up top. Roden swings right side for Richmond, gets a screen, doesn't use it. Moving left, push pass on the wing goes to Roden. Roden with Jones, lobs it inside. Jackson spins off of John, shoulders his way inside and lays it in. Strong drive to the rack for Trey Jackson.
Tight defense wasn't enough to stop that.
8 points now for Jackson, Pirates within 1. Houston for Buffkin, he's been the spark. Tosses right side Jones around a John screen. Jones back for Buffkin. Buffkin guarded by Harris, swings for Johns, 12 to shoot. Jones on the wing, high on the wing now. Shot clock down to 9. Slips the screen, zigzags to the left side. Poked loose, Houston gets it. 5 to shoot. Houston foul line pull up, blocked by Roden. 3 to shoot. Dickinson has it. Roden picks his pocket, stays in bounds, or does he? He stepped out of bounds. Wow, that's a break for Michigan, because it'll give him a fresh shot clock as well.
Yeah, Michigan just had a couple of errors there, couldn't really put it up. But fortunately, they'll hang on to it and get 30 more seconds to maybe put it in the basket.
A real stagnant offense on that last possession for Michigan. Hardly got inside the arc. Let's see if things change here. Houston high on the right wing, toss for Johns at the block M. Johns hesitates, pushes it left side, Buffkin into the corner. It's caught by Jones. Jones around a Dickinson screen to the wing, to the elbow. Hop steps inside, strip, gets it back. Shovel feed Dickinson amidst 3 Pirates. Jones dives on the floor to get it. Up top, Houston. Swing for Buffkin. Buffkin fakes. Buffkin drives. Buffkin goes up strong and lays it in. Oh, Kobe Buffkin unafraid. And Michigan takes the 3-point lead.
He has been the firecracker for this offense.
I mean, the triple drive and going right at the heart of the defense, undeterred, and a strong finish. Wow. On the other end, commits a personal foul in the reach in, a little overzealous. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half, Michigan up by 3.
Both teams have 4 team fouls.
Dangerous inbounds pass by Roden. Jackson goes into the backcourt to get it because Johns tipped it. Flips left side for Harris with Jones. Harris moves right. Pulls up for 3 off the bounce. A deep shot off to the left, and Jones out of nowhere soars in for the board. Jones looking to push. Hop steps down the right side, moving right. Calls his own number, straight away 3, in and out. And Jackson snares the rebound. Here comes Seton Hall. Richmond around a screen. Underneath for Obiagu. Couldn't catch it cleanly, out of bounds. Who touched it last? Obiagu did. And it's Michigan basketball.
The crowd is really on their feet for that one. The entire student section, even up in the upper concourse and the upper bowl, they're standing this entire time.
And Kobe Buffkin takes his seat and gets a well-deserved ovation from the Crisler Center faithful. An energetic 2 or so 3-minute stint for Kobe Buffkin, who really provided a spark for Michigan with 4 points and active hands defensively. Dickinson up top, pivots to face the hoop, left alone, tosses left side Jones around the screen, arcs it back, it's deflected, and it's snared by Yetna. Fires it ahead, looking for Roden, and it's too far out in front of him. Careless turnover by Seton Hall.
So 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining in the first half. Michigan up 29-26 and the possession.
Brooks on the left wing hands off for Jones. Harris nearly at a steal. Jones keeps it. Lobs left wing Dickinson. Dickinson, his pass is deflected. He gets it back. Finally hands off for Brooks. He stumbles with it. Curls. Push shot in the lane. Off the heel too strong. Fight for the rebound. Brooks has it. Dice is inside. Drops it off. Dickinson! He yams it home. Another strong flush at the rim for Hunter Dickinson.
Second slam we've seen from him tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if that's on Sports Center this evening.
The crowd getting into it. 26 seconds to play in the first half. Michigan up by 5. Harris catches on the right wing. Give up top Obiagu. Hand off Roden. Shot clock at 10. Roden drives right. Gets inside. Loses it, but is fouled. Houston was there. So was Johns. I think the foul calls on Houston. And it is, which will send Jared Roden to the free throw line with 18.3 seconds to play in the first half.
So Michigan with the potential to maybe take this final shot. The shot clock is turned off for the half.
Roden, an 83% free throw shooter, snaps the net on his first one tonight. Johns takes a seat here. Kobe Buffkin re-enters. So it's Dickinson, Houston, Brooks, Buffkin, and Jones to close out the half here for the Wolverines. Michigan up by 4. Roden has one more coming at the line. And he drills it. Substitution for Seton Hall. Roden takes a seat. Miles Kale re-enters.
So with that, Michigan, their lead dwindles to only 3 points.
Houston to Jones, tosses left side. Houston, 15 seconds, 14 seconds. Seton Hall with press. Jones gets it across with 10 seconds. Jones calls for a Dickinson screen with 7 seconds. They got to go. Jones moves right, kicks it back. Left side, Brooks into the corner. Houston for 3. Too strong, and Richmond snags the rebound. A fitting end to the first half for Caleb Houston, who is 0 of 5 from the field, but it's a 31-28 Michigan lead as we head into the halftime locker room. Wolverines with the 3-point advantage in what has been an exciting, energetic, and hotly contested game.
Very low scoring, too. That last shot was very emblematic of how Michigan played. They went 0 for 7 from beyond the 3-point arc. Unacceptable if they want to win this game. They were lucky to be going into the benches, into the locker room ahead with a shooting percentage that low.
And Dickinson, who had several ferocious slams rumbling inside, he has 10 points. Brooks tied for the team lead with Hunter. He has 10 points. For the most part, those have been the sources of Michigan's offense. Kobe Buffkin had a spark off the bench, 4 points himself and some active defense. But offense has been hard to come by in this one. Caleb Houston, Musa Diabate, the 2 5-star freshmen, not much so far from them. Michigan's going to need more if they want to close this one out.
Yeah, you mentioned Dickinson and Brooks, each with 10 points. They each also have 2 assists. And I believe both of their assists are to each other. They're a dynamic duo. They just, one gets open and the other distributes, or one sets a pick for the other to roll through the lane. You could really tell that they have played together a lot. They practiced together over the offseason. And I'm excited to see how well they play together the rest of this year.
Man, the chemistry is there with those two. Maybe not there with the rest of the team just quite yet. Houston had some open looks. They weren't falling. Diabate struggled. Brandon Johns a minimal impact. Devontae Jones with 4 points, only 1 assist, which should be higher. He does have 9 rebounds, very active, all of those on the defensive end. For Seton Hall, it's Jared Roden who leads the way with 9, and Trey Jackson, who's made a pair of threes. He has 8 for the Pirates.
We got a lucky fan trying to win $200 at halftime.
Trying to do the Juwan Howard staple, the backwards half-court shot.
I don't think I've ever seen any fan make this.
Jim Harbaugh walking along courtside, shaking a few hands. This one's close. Oh, it's short. I think this guy has a potential here to make this shot. I don't know how many tries he gets. That one's too strong. I assume he gets 3 attempts?
That's usually how this one goes, but you do see Harbaugh at the sideline talking to some young fans, too. Always good to see Michigan's athletic program support each other. Michigan's football program just a couple hours ago were ranked number 6 in the nation by the College Football Playoff Committee. We're really living in a special time to be a Michigan fan and covering Michigan with WCBN.
Those Wolverines.
Very fortunate. We got the hockey team number 1 in the nation. Men's basketball number 4 in the nation. Football we have number 6 in the nation. Women's basketball is 13 in the nation.
And Adam, you called that game doing double duty tonight.
Yes, my voice is really not going to like me tomorrow, but I enjoy every minute of this. We had, for those who were unable to catch that one, Michigan faced off against UMass Lowell and won pretty handedly in that. They go to 3-0 on the season, and looking great. We got Naz Hillman. She had double-digit points once again.
For those of you who maybe are tuning in and wondering why we're rambling, well, it's halftime. We're not that crazy. Michigan's up 31-28, a 3-point lead at the half over Seton Hall. And the activities for now on the court, though, have been relegated to an around-the-world shootout between 4 Michigan students. Hopefully this shooting doesn't rub off on the Wolverines in the second half.
Yeah. One thing I mentioned during the women's broadcast, I figured you might be interested in this. Notice what is different about this court this year.
You tell me.
So there is only one 3-point line this year. That is because in the offseason, the NCAA changed the women's distance to match the men's. So in previous season, there were 2 lines where the inner one was for women and the outer one was for the men. This season, just 1 line for both of them. Makes it a lot easier, makes it look more elegant. And for the women's team, they had no trouble. They made way more 3 points than the men have so far.
Yeah, the Michigan men are struggling from 3 so far tonight. In fact, so much so that they don't have a 3. 0 of 7. Houston 0 of 3, and Brooks, Williams, Dickinson have missed 1 apiece. So has Jones. So no 3-point shots for Michigan in that first half. Not a great recipe for success, and Michigan's offense has struggled as a result.
0 for 7 from beyond the arc, and they're still winning. That is very fortunate, but when they play tough Big Ten opponents like Illinois, Indiana, I don't know how Illinois is going to be this season after the other
Purdue
game.
will be very good.
But Purdue, yeah. When they play a tough Big Ten opponent, they're not going to be able to win going 0 for 7 from 3. Something is going to have to change.
Yeah, Michigan certainly has some kinks to iron out. Good thing they get a chance to do so again for a fresh 20 minutes, second half. Coming up in a tick over 9 minutes here. That's how much time we have remaining in halftime. This hard 3-point shooting competition is still going on. It's clear why these people are students as one banks it in. And now we're tied. Next person to make a shot wins.
This could go on a while.
I think the one in the Maze is battling some fatigue. So is the one in the Marcus Howard jersey, and the Maze one dials in a 3. Ring it up.
Yeah, it's always fun to see students get involved. This is what you don't get when you're watching the Pistons. This really student-like atmosphere where these players, I know there's been a lot of discussion in the sports world about whether these players are students or athletes or both or neither, or how do they navigate that. But at the end of the day, you see these people walking around campus. You see them going to Mr. Spots or going to Panera or
Giving
in
out
your
some
math
free
class.
advertising.
Yes. Neither of them paid me. It's just examples that come to mind.
No one signing you to any NIL deals? No?
I wish if Mr. Spots could. I absolutely would take it. But you really get that student atmosphere in a way that you can't really connect with the Pistons like that. One of the special parts about having these fans back in the stadium is that they could kind of give that love back to the players, just like the players give to the entire campus.
And the Maze Rage is out in full force. We are swarmed by Maze Rage to our right in the upper level in the bowl. Probably 4, 5, 6 full sections of students who have showed out for this game and certainly had an impact making Crisler Center very, very loud tonight.
Very, very yellow as well.
Very maze.
Maze.
A slip.
My father will always correct me on that, but yes. Yeah, you see a lot of empty seats except the student section. So
yeah.
It's about half full in most sections except the Maze Rage. It's not an empty seat to be found.
And you would not be able to tell that if your eyes were closed because this place sounded very loud.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that's only going to go up a notch as the second half gets going here. We're about 7 minutes away from the ultimate 20 minutes beginning. Michigan with the 3-point lead, 31-28 in what was a seesaw of a first half between the Wolverines and the Pirates.
And as a reminder, at halftime, we're going to switch off the commentary. Amer Bektas is going to take over play-by-play, and William Gregory is going to do color. But thank you for spending your Tuesday evening listening to WCBN. This has certainly been a fun one. This is your first time back broadcasting men's, right?
I'm back calling men's after a year-plus hiatus. It is great to be back.
Yeah, we love having you in the booth, Jared.
This team is fun to watch.
Yeah. Hopefully this is a long season in a good way.
Yes.
They go far in the Big Ten tournament, go far in March. This team certainly has the pieces. It's whether they can put it together.
And we'll be there every step of the way for sure, WCBN Sports. But I think that's going to do it for us, almost. Or are we waiting for Amer?
Amer is finishing up right now. He's on his way up.
Look at him stride up the stairs. He's hustling.
Yes, but I'm going to hand it over to William right now.
Yeah, so Adam, thanks so much. We are queuing in William Gregory. He will be on color for the second half. William, what you see in that first half from Michigan out there? What do they got to work on?
Yeah, I think Michigan owned everywhere inside the three-point lines. They couldn't shoot it well on offense, and I don't think they could defend it well on defense. But that's what they'll have to do in this second half to be able to win this game. You have to make some three-pointers, and you have to be able to defend those tough shots. Indeed
they do. That'll be it for me. Thanks so much for listening to me and my voice for the first half. For Adam Bressler, I'm Jared Greenspan. We're handing the reins over to William Gregory and Amer Bektas. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to listen to Amer.
Hello and welcome back inside of Crisler Center, where your Michigan Wolverines are up 31-28. William, recap that first half for us.
Yeah, like I said to Jared, Michigan has owned everywhere inside the three-point line. It's been outside that's been the issue. Seton Hall's 5 of 14 from 3. Michigan's 0 for 7. You have to make shots from outside. You have to defend shots from outside in order to win basketball games in this era of spread it around, shoot the basketball from distance. Seton Hall's made a couple tough shots from the perimeter so far today. And I think Michigan's played good defense inside the paint and around the painted area, but again, they just have to shoot the three well and defend the three well. They should be able to pull this one out leading in the second half.
Taking at some first half stats, Hunter Dickinson and Eli Brooks tied for the lead with 10 points so far, and kind of freshmen really struggling to get going right now. Caleb Houston 0 for 6, 0 points, 0 for 3 behind the arc. How does Juwan Howard game plan to get Caleb Houston going in the second half?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, he's a young freshman. I think getting to the line, getting fouled, taking some contact, and making a free throw is great for any player to be able to expand the hoop a little bit and make some shots, see something go in. I think that is something that Juwan can tell Caleb to start driving the ball inside instead of taking longer shots. He's 0 for 3 from 3. That's the most attempts on the team so far. Hasn't been able to go in, but I think he's the type of player where if one shot goes in, he can get hot and heat up really quickly.
So we're about a minute away from the start of the second half here in Ann Arbor. Really a good matchup. You know, these teams met together in 1989 where the Wolverines were able to pull it out and win a national title. But, you know, it's the Seton Hall Pirates. They came into play. They've gone toe-to-toe with the Wolverines. Wolverines have not been able to really do what we've seen so far. I mean, the season's really early on. Hunter Dickinson's been able to get a couple of big dunks here, and I'd expect that in the second half, just one big dunk to get this Maze Rage going.
Yeah, the Maze Rage has been super involved so far today. It's been great to see it, but I think Michigan has to continue to defend the inside as well as they've been doing it, and it's really tough when a team like Seton Hall is making these tough shots. I think that's the beauty of college basketball, though. You can play really good defense, but just those little momentum swings mean a lot to either make a tough shot or miss a wide open one.
So
Michigan's got the Maze Rage behind them, and I think that'll be tough for Seton Hall to overcome.
So Seton Hall going with the same starters that they had out there in the first half. We're going to have Richmond, Kale, Yente, Roden, and Obuage. Michigan switching it up. No, not really. They're going to go with the same starters: Dickinson, Jones, Houston, Johns Jr., and Eli Brooks.
It's been interesting to watch Hunter Dickinson so far. Obviously, he's a mammoth of a human, but defending him is Ike Obiagu, who is 7'2" and 265 in his own right. I think that matchup is going to be interesting to watch if Seton Hall can defend a player of Hunter Dickinson's caliber.
So we are underway here in Ann Arbor as Devontae Jones lays it off to Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson with a little teardrop gets the friendly bounce in there. Dickinson now up to 12 points.
Yeah, you've been seeing those little dump-ins a lot so far today, and Dickinson's been taking advantage of soft defense being played against him.
Now Richmond being guarded by Eli. Here comes the screen, throws it out into the corner to Roden. Roden, he's going to shoot one from the baseline off the rim. Rebound by Brandon Johns Jr.
Michigan's defense has been tough in guarding the Seton Hall sets, and we'll see if that can continue.
So now Brooks kicks it back into Dickinson. Dickinson with the spin move on the block right there, being guarded very well. He's going to do a hook shot, and the ball's going to get stuck in the rim. That's the first one I've seen this one here. So it's a jump ball, and it's going to go to Seton Hall.
Yeah, Obiagu played him really well, just straight up, hands up in the air. Can't ask for better defense against a physical force like Dickinson, and Obiagu is one of the few players on the court tonight that will be able to match up with Hunter physically.
Yeah, Obiagu not really making any stats in the book. I mean, 0 points, but he's got 15 minutes, 4 blocks, and 1 forced turnover. So his thing is going to be to shut down Dickinson. But here comes Richmond. He's going to kick it out to the corner, out to Kale. Kale who misses that. Rebound by the Wolverines. Here comes Devontae Jones. Quickly, Michigan trying to get some possession. He's going to cut through the lane, spins, but he's going to draw a foul.
Yeah, Devontae Jones is just one of those classic point guards that's really hard to stop once he gets ahead of steam into the lane. He's got that stocky, short build that sort of baits teams into fouling him rather than having him fight through contact and make a layup. You don't want him to let any easy shots go by. Get him to the line and make him make those free throws.
Yeah, so the foul is credited to Kadari Richmond, his second. He's going to send Devontae Jones to the line as he sinks his first one. This is Jones's 4th trip to the line, so now he's 3 of 6 from the line. Wolverines as a team are shooting 80% from the free throw line tonight. So, you know, in a tight game like this, free throws are going to be important as Jones sinks his second one, and it is 35-28 Michigan, 8:47 left here in the second half.
Yeah, like I said, I think free throw shooting is going to be important to unlocking some offensive game from some of the players that have been struggling tonight.
So now Rodman drives in. He's going to lay it off to Yente, and it's going to be taken away by Hunter Dickinson out to Eli Brooks now.
There's that stellar inside defense continuing for the Wolverines. It's been great to watch.
So Wolverines working it around to get it to Dickinson down low on the block. Dickinson kicks it out to Brooks. Brooks lets one fly right off the rim right there. Rebound Richmond. Now he finds out Roden. Roden's going to let one fly behind the arc off the back iron, but the Pirates are able to retain it. Now here goes Kale, and they're going to draw a foul right there, Yente. And it looks like it's going to be on Brandon Johns Jr., his first one of the night.
Yeah, this game just continues to be defined by it's been really hard for either team to make open shots, and also both teams have been playing really good defense contesting the more open shots. But at some point, these shots have to fall for both of these teams. Both of them shooting under 40%. Seton Hall with those couple misses are down to 32.3 as Yetnam misses his first free throw off front iron. But I think you'll see some regression to the mean in this second half. You'd have to with two teams capable of making shots like these ones.
Yeah, Yenta, a 6'8 graduate student from Paris, France. He was a redshirt last year, so he misses his first free throw. Second one is up. Second one is in and good, and the Pirates cut the Wolverines' lead down to 6. 2 minutes into the second half, Devontae Jones crosses the block. He's going to dribble out to Caleb Houston. Now Caleb Houston on the elbow, out to Dickinson, back to Houston, now at the key. He cuts in through the lane and Caleb Houston is going to be called for the charge right there. Or no, correction, draws the block.
But like I said, I think Juwan went to him and said, you got to start driving into the lane. And it looks like they will call it a continuation foul, so it'll be a shooting foul, not a block. Caleb Houston will get to the free throw line, and like I said, this is crucial for him to see something go in the net and make some shots for this Wolverine team.
First one's up, and that is the first points of the night for Caleb Houston, who's really been struggling in that first half, but still up to 21 minutes. So Juwan Howard letting the freshman be out there, get him comfortable. Second one is up, and he is 100% from the free throw line. Michigan up 37-29 over Seton Hall. So now here comes Kadari Richmond, guarded by, but Eli Brooks gets a hand in there, and they are able to steal the ball. Now Brooks is bringing it up, top of the key. They're looking to go down low to Dickinson right there, but they kicked out to Jones. Back out to Brooks at the top.
Look at Obiagu playing defense, man. He just cannot, he will not let that ball be passed into Dickinson.
Dickinson comes, sets the screen. Now Dickinson trying to roll. Eli Brooks, he's going to kick it out, or under the basket to Brandon Johns Jr. Brandon Johns Jr. is with the scoop and score right there. Johns now up to 8 points as Seton Hall is going to call a timeout, and Juwan Howard is fired up as the Crisler Center is as well. We're at 17-10 left in the second quarter. Michigan extends their lead to 10 over Seton Hall.
even with the poor shooting to start the second half, Michigan starts on a 7-1 run. And, I mean, going into halftime, it was a pretty even game, but the momentum has fully swung in the Wolverines' direction. And you saw that with Devontae Jones checking up Kadari Richmond in the full-court press, which he has done so far this year pretty often. And it's been good to get this crowd fired up by doing that. But I want to go back to Caleb Houston. He kind of had a freshman moment, and I thought he got bailed out by the official. He was trying to pass that ball out on the foul, and I think if he took that ball up and shot it, he could have had a chance at an and one. So that might be something that Juwan will talk to him about. I think you can applaud the aggression of going inside and not settling for the outside shot, but it's a teaching moment for a young player that you have the ability to take that ball up and score. You just have to impose your will on the defender.
Yeah, Juwan Howard not afraid to go to his freshman. We've already seen Houston. He's a starter for this team. Diabate's been out there. And how about Kobe Buffkin? Buffkin getting some 4 minutes out there, 4 points, 2 for 2 from the field. So we should probably see Kobe Buffkin quite a bit out here for the Wolverines as time progresses.
Yeah, he's been very active defensively. There were a couple fast break opportunities in the first half created by his aggression on the defensive end, and that's continues a theme for the entire Wolverines team so far of their ability to jump into passing lanes and shut down the Seton Hall offense. It's crucial that Kobe can step up and play in this game right now because Seton Hall is pretty deep, and they've been running out a lineup of about 9 or 10 guys. And that's tough for a team like Michigan to be able to stop when you really only have 6 to 7 players that you're comfortable giving major minutes to. So a player like Kobe Buffkin being able to step into a role and contribute. He has scored, but he's also contributed in all other facets of the game.
Yeah, the Wolverines doing a lot of their damage as expected down low in the paint. They got 24 points down low, and 12 of those credited to Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah, I mean, we've applauded Obiagu's defense, but on those switches down low following pick and rolls, Seton Hall's been slow to rotate over or under the basket to effectively stop Hunter Dickinson without fouling. And I think you'll see Juwan Howard continue to call plays like that until Seton Hall's able to stop them, especially with the 3 balls not falling for the Wolverines so far.
So we're just moments away. Seton Hall is going to inbound it, and it's going to be to Richmond at the top of the key. He's guarded by Devontae Jones. Michigan, they really got to establish the defense. They can get the offense going, but what can the Wolverines do here? Jones getting put on skates right there, but gets a hand in there and forces the ball to go out of bounds. It's going to stay with Seton Hall. 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
Seton Hall's been pretty loose on the dribble. There's been a couple knockaway steals so far in this game, and that was close to being another.
So Richmond inbounds it into the corner. Now they get it into Obiagu down low. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. They're going to have to get a shot up. Richmond back out to Roden. Roden off the backboard, but Seton Hall gets the offensive rebound, so 20 seconds on the shot. Now they get another shot up, and it's in for a 3-point shot right there by Jameer Harris.
You have to get that rebound there. That'll drive a coach insane to defend a 3-point shot that well and give up the offensive rebound to let up another opportunity.
Now here goes Jones driving in, kicks it out to Houston. Houston behind the arc. He lets one fly and off the iron, but Michigan gets the offensive rebound. Devontae Jones is going to try to float it up off the iron right there. Rebound Seton Hall, but quickly down the court they come. And here it is to Yent, and he gets one to go in.
Yeah, that was tough sequence there for Michigan. They returned the favor to Seton Hall by taking away an offensive rebound, but unlike the Pirates, they missed their second shot.
So the Wolverines now out to Hunter Dickinson at the top of the key. He's got plenty of space right there. Seton Hall is basically begging him to shoot it, but he gets it back down low on the block. Now he's going to get to work. Double team comes right here. Doesn't matter. Dickinson gets it to go with the left-handed layup.
That's weight room strength right there. No matter how big Obiagu tries to play him, it's hard to stop a player like Hunter Dickinson when he's got a head of steam.
Michigan now up 41-34, but Seton Hall coming back down right now. It's Richmond at the top of the key. Now they kick it into the corner, but we got a foul We're going to see who it's called on, and it looks like it's going to be on Caleb Houston, or Brandon Johns Jr. That is Johns' second personal foul, and we're going to have immediate timeout. Michigan up 41-34, 15:25 left in the second half.
Yeah, and that under 16 timeout, I think, is well placed for Seton Hall to be able to regroup after that really nice layup by Dickinson. It's another instance in which momentum has been so close in this stadium to blowing off the top of the arena. If Michigan can string together maybe 2 scoring possessions out of this timeout, you might see the Maze Rage going crazy. Yeah, and I mean, they got to shoot the 3 well. I think that last 3-point shot by Caleb Houston looked a lot better, and it rimmed out. It hit each side of the rim about 2 times before bouncing out. So that's another aspect that the Wolverines need to be able to capitalize on. I think they've been getting open shots in this offense, but they have not been able to convert.
Yeah, Wolverines having a tough night behind the arc. 0 for 9 behind the arc, but, you know, they still lead in this one. And that shows you how important Michigan's offense is down low in the paint. Like, they're not going to be a team that's going to live and die by the 3 because they have that post presence there by Hunter Dickinson and Brandon Johns Jr. So,
yeah, I mean, their lineup is kind of antithetical to modern basketball. Dickinson has shot a 3, but he's not really a shooter. That was a wide open 3-point shot. I don't know if you'd call Brandon Johns Jr. a knockdown shooter, and I don't think we've seen it yet from Devontae Jones. He's more of a playmaker and a driver at the point guard position. So in the starting lineup, you really only have Caleb Houston and Eli Brooks to be able to shoot 3s. Both of them have had multiple attempts so far today, but neither able to make a single one. Yep. So when that is happening, it's really tough in this age of basketball to rely only on 2-point shots.
Yeah, Caleb Houston 0 for 4 behind the arc, and Eli Brooks 0 for 2 from downtown. So sooner or later, you feel like those shots are going to start dropping for the Wolverines.
They have to. If they do, if they were to drop, Michigan would be up big right now. I think if they shot maybe 3 for 9, which I think would be average, about 33%. They're up 50-34. But instead, it's a close enough game where Seton Hall has the ability to make 3 quick baskets and really pull close.
And I mean, we saw it a couple nights ago when the Wolverines were on the court here against Buffalo, allowing Buffalo to get back into that game. You know, they were able to get the 3 going, led by a couple of players right there. And, you know, you don't want to keep good teams around. You got to get that knockout punch.
Yeah, and I think the benefit for the Wolverines tonight is that, unlike Buffalo, I don't think Seton Hall has a alpha scorer like Janathan Williams in that Buffalo game, who is just a walking bucket. But we'll see what they can do here.
So 20 seconds left on the shot clock. It's going to be inbound into Yetna. Now out to Harris, back to Yetna. Yetna's going to try his luck behind the arc. Off the iron, rebounded Devontae Jones.
Something about these rims today, it's been really tough for either team to make shots.
Now Dickinson trying to set the screen for Devontae Jones. Devontae Jones just kicks it out to Eli Brooks at the top of the key. 18 seconds left on the shot. They get it to Dickinson down low. Dickinson turns, shoots. That's Dickinson's bread and butter. You got to be able to make those shots from 15 feet away from the hoop, and he does. Dickinson now up to 16 points.
I mean, you can't stop that when he's got that back to the basket presence. As there's no foul on that 3-pointer, Dickinson lays it up to Jones, who converts the layup, and now we're getting the Maze Rage into it again.
Yeah, going back to that sequence right there, Harris gets blocked, and Dickinson gets the rebound, and just an outlet pass to Devontae Jones. Devontae Jones with the easy layup. Michigan now up 45-34. Maze Rage is in it. Harris at the top of the key kicks it out to Yetna. Yetna drives into the baseline, gets his own rebound, and then draws the foul right there.
Man, that was just a tough play by Yetna. He almost lost his balance there, had to sort of go for a 2-handed dribble, regain composure, and put that layup back up. He had a lot of spin on it to be able to get it over that front rim, but nice play by Yetna.
The foul is going to be credited to Hunter Dickinson, his second of the night. No Michigan Wolverines really in foul trouble yet. Other than the two big men for the Wolverines, Brandon Johns Jr. and Hunter Dickinson, both with 2 fouls apiece.
Going back to before the steal, before the block shot and the fast break layup, as Yetna misses his free throw on the N1 attempt. But I think it's an interesting dichotomy of the two offenses where Seton Hall's bigs cannot pop out and shoot like that like Dickinson can.
Yep, and foul is going to be now on Bryce Aiken. You know, he was all up on Devontae Jones right there. You had Dickinson come out all the way basically to the top end to try to set the screen, but the referees call the foul, so it's going to remain with the Wolverines. Brandon Johns Jr. is going to inbound the ball. Out to Jones now. Being guarded by Aiken. Now he's at the top of the key, just really dribbling it around. They're trying to get Dickinson open, and that's where they do. They get it down low to Dickinson. 8 seconds left on the shot. Dickinson just man-powers it right there, but cannot get any iron on that as Seton Hall comes away with the rebound.
Yeah, you see Juwan Howard looking at Hunter Dickinson and jumping up in the air. Hunter really didn't go up strongly with that left hand.
Jameer Harris lets one fly, but it's off the iron, and it's rebounded by Samuel. Samuel gets one to go back up, and now it's 38-45 Michigan. Seton Hall with the full court press. Brandon Johns throws it out to Eli Brooks. Now they give it back to Devontae Jones. Devontae Jones being guarded by Kale. And we saw the last couple of possessions as Wolverines work it around into Brandon Johns Jr. in the corner off the iron. Wolverines yet to get a three-point to fall.
It's tough so far. I mean, you can't really do anything better. That was a wide-open three.
Here goes Harris. He drives into the lane, and he gets one to go over the big man, Hunter Dickinson, cutting the Michigan Wolverines lead down to 5.
Michigan's been lacking that inside defensive presence so far out of that under-16 timeout.
Out to Brandon Johns Jr. on the corner. He's going to go up off the rim, gets his own rebound. Brandon Johns Jr. gets the second opportunity to go.
Yeah, I think it's been really aggravating for Juwan to give up offensive rebounds on the defensive end. But
here goes Aiken driving into the lane, draws the foul, and it looks like it's going to be on Devontae Jones right there. That is Devontae Jones's first foul of the night, 4th team foul of the night, as Musa Diabate checks in, and Hunter Dickinson's going to check out. And right away we can see Juwan Howard coaching Hunter Dickinson up, telling him what to do on the block right there. Just need more manpower.
Yeah, it seems like he's been wasting a lot of his energy on offense, not a lot of defensive rebounding.
So quick shot right there by Harris is an air ball and rebounded by Devontae Jones. Now Jones is going to try to bring it up quickly. So with Dickinson out, do they try to get Musa Diabate to go, or what do the Wolverines got to do here? We'll find out. Jones is looking to let one fly, and he's going to airball that one right there, rebounded by Harris.
I don't think you want Devontae Jones taking an off-the-dribble three like that with how cold the Wolverines have been.
So Harris kicks it out to Samuel. Samuel lets one fly off the front rim of the iron. Just a tough night for everybody to shoot behind the arc.
It has been. In tandem with good defense, the inability to make open shots has plagued both of these teams.
So Aiken right there defending Eli Brooks all over him, but now it's Brandon Johns at the top of the key. Now Jones. Musa sets the screen. We're going to have an offensive foul on the Wolverines. We're going to see who the call is on here momentarily. It's going to be on Musa Diabate. That is his second personal foul of the night, and we're going to go to immediate timeout where the Michigan Wolverines lead 47-40.
Same scenario as the last media timeout. Seton Hall down 7 with a little bit of momentum swinging their way. I think when you have Musa in the game, Obiagu was not in the game for Seton Hall. You could go down low to him. I don't think that Tyrese Samuel can provide the same level of defense that Obiagu has so far. And I think Diabate is a physical enough player to get inside. And with the inability continued, I mean, we're beating this like a dead horse. Michigan cannot make shots from the outside. So you just have to return to pounding inside, pounding the paint, and hoping you get a wide open kick out. But I think that's the extent to where they should focus their offense on three-point shooting tonight.
Yeah, and just looking at the stat book for the Seton Hall Pirates, no one particular player is leading them. They're able to spread it around. You got Harris with 8 points, Jackson with 8, and Roden leading them with 9. So unlike compared to the Wolverines, where Dickinson is leading in that category with 16 and Brooks right behind him with 10. You know, it seems like whichever team is able to get the 3 to go these last 11 minutes might be the one that's able to pull it out. But as long as the Wolverines are able, especially Hunter Dickinson, to establish his post presence and just go to work down low. I mean, when we saw Dickinson in there, he would come up to the top of the key, set the screen, look to pick and roll. If it's not there, the Wolverines kick it out to the corner, and then Dickinson goes and posts up basically on the elbow or on the block, and they let him do the rest of it.
Yeah, and that set's been pretty unstoppable, especially with Dickinson's ability, like we saw, to pop out for that 15-foot jumper, because the defense constantly has to hedge to him driving either baseline or up for a hook shot towards the free throw line on that left side. It's really tough to be able to defend two aspects of a game like that when Dickinson is displaying such mastery of footwork and shooting and post moves.
I still cannot get over this stat. We were almost 75% through this game, and the Wolverines have yet to get a 3-point to fall.
The thing that surprised me is that they're finally back up to 40% shooting. Both teams had hovered below for most of the game so far, but in spite of being 0-11 from 3, the Wolverines are still 20-50 from the field, while Seton Hall has shot the 3 for more than half their shots, and it hasn't been falling well for them, but they still made 6 threes.
So as the second horn sounds, we're going to have Tyrese Samuel out there for Seton Hall. We're going to have Miles Kale, Jameer Harris. Wolverines will have Brandon Johns Jr., Devontae Jones, Musa Diabate, Eli Brooks, and Caleb Houston. So 11:43 left. Wolverines up by 7, but Seton Hall looking to go to work right here as they get a 2-pointer to go in right there. Nice little layup drive by Miles Kale. So
I don't think that's what Juwan Howard wants out of that timeout. I think he coached his players up on some tighter defense inside as a errant pass.
Yeah, full court press right there by Seton Hall. Devontae Jones trying to get it across, but Seton Hall is able to get a flick on it, but we're going to have a jump ball, and Michigan's going to retain possession, so we're going to have 20 left on the shot clock. Caleb Houston is going to inbound the ball for the Wolverines. Gets it into Jones, who's really being guarded by a really good defender, Bryce Aiken for the Seton Hall. Now they get it to Caleb Houston out on the elbow. Jones is going to drive in, stops at the elbow, kicks it out to the corner. Eli Brooks for 3, and there it is. The first 3-pointer goes to who else other than Eli Brooks.
That's one of his first momentum-swinging baskets so far tonight. He had a quiet 10 points, but that's big for this Wolverine team.
Aiken from the free throw line, right back down the court. Seton Hall, they're able to end that really quickly. Full court press is still on by Seton Hall. Can the Wolverines get it over? They got 3 seconds to get it over. Devontae Jones is able to get it over just in the nick of time right there. Hunter Dickinson is not out on the floor, but here comes Musa Diabate to set the screen. Off the roll, they kick it out to Johns in the corner. Johns trying to work baseline. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. They get it out to Eli. Eli's going to drive in, kicks it out to Brandon Johns. 2 seconds left. Johns has got to get something up right there. And Seton Hall forces the 30-second violation. You cannot do that. And Juwan Howard is going to send Terrence Williams to check in, and Brandon Johns Jr. heads to the bench.
Yeah, you cannot be that passive on offense. Brandon Johns Jr. had 3 open shots separately on that possession with passes in between. And even before the shot clock expired, he had a nice post-fade opportunity.
Aiken driving through the lane, but the Wolverines are able to flick it away. Now here comes Caleb Houston. Caleb Houston up with the nice little layup for the Wolverines right there. Caleb Houston now with 4 points. Michigan up by 8 now, and as we are at the 10-minute mark. Ball is going to be brought up by Bryce Aiken, guarded by Devontae Jones. Now here comes the double team. Now Jameer Harris on the block end. He wants to shoot that, but he's going to drive in through the lane, kicks it out into the corner right there for ball is loose right now. Now Kale comes up with it. Out to Aiken. Aiken out to Kale. Now they get it down low. It's Samuel, and Samuel cannot control that one, and it's going to be back to the Wolverines.
Ever since that media timeout at 12 minutes, it's just been chaos on the floor. Seton Hall started running this full-court press. Michigan started trapping on defense, and neither team has really been able to control the ball all that well.
Full-court press is still being applied, and Seton Hall gets a 10-second violation. So that's a 10-second violation and a 30-second violation in the span of, what, a minute? Back-to-back possessions?
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw in the last full-court press where Devontae Jones barely got it over midcourt that the forward he was paired with, which before was Brandon Johns and on that possession was Terrence Williams, neither of those players were moving around really at all. They were waiting for Devontae Jones to do something, and they weren't providing any help in terms of getting that ball across the timeline.
Here goes Aiken. He's going to kick it out to Jackson. Jackson drives in and just man-powers his way in, gets a bucket to flow. Devontae Jones has checked out. Now the freshman Kobe Buffkin is in. So trying to get some fresh blood out there. You got 3 freshmen out there, a sophomore, and Eli Brooks. But here comes Caleb Houston at the elbow, trying to create space. Musa rolls off. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Now Houston drives in, kicks it out to Terrence. Terrence is going to let one fly, and Mr. Terrence Williams Jr. gets it to go in right there. Checks into the game for the first time, gets his first 3 to go for the Wolverines. Wolverines now up 55-46.
And you saw a more flowing offense with Eli Brooks playing on ball without Devontae Jones.
Here goes Aiken. He drives baseline, and they're kicking around into the corner. They're able to get it to Jackson, and Jackson gets a 3 to throw. Ice cold from Trey Jackson.
The Wolverines have not been able to pull away. Every time they make a big shot, it seems like Seton Hall decides they want to go shot for shot. You have to be able to stop these perimeter long-range three-pointers, and Michigan's been unable to do that in crucial moments to pull away.
So we are a timeout called by the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan up 55-49, 8:25 left, and as soon as the Wolverines, you feel like they might be able to start pulling away, Seton Hall comes right back down the floor, and they're just going punch for punch right now. No team has established that knockout punch, but now since the Wolverines have gotten 2 3-pointers to go, they're shooting 15.4% behind the arc. So not too hot right there, but Terrence Williams comes in for the Wolverines, gets 1 to go, and now they're up by 6.
Yeah, I want to see Eli Brooks run the offense here out of this timeout. I think that last possession that ended in the Terrence Williams 3 was it flowed very well, and it looked like the open shot was created relatively easily. Those screen and rolls with Diabate weren't really working, but as soon as Caleb Houston drove in, his gravity pulled all the defenders towards him, and he was able to kick it out to Terrence Williams. I think you can run that with Eli Brooks, run a bit of a motion offense, and try and get open shots on kickouts rather than designing dribble handoffs for somebody like Devontae Jones or Caleb Houston to shoot off the dribble. I think tonight North Carolina was in trouble with College of Charleston early, but they've pulled away. In 2 games from now, Michigan will play in Chapel Hill against the Tar Heels.
The Wolverines are going to make the trip down to Chapel Hill on December 1st in the Big Ten ACC matchup, which should be a fantastic one. Kentucky was supposed to come up here, but they did not want to play us this year.
Not a lot of those Southern teams ever want to come this far north. Looking at scores around the country, BYU up 15 against number 12 ranked Oregon. I think BYU has proven themselves to be a pretty good team in the past couple years, especially in the Mountain West. Or do they play in the WAC? I'm not sure. San Diego State's been good out there too. Really good West Coast basketball, I think. It's always fun watching those broadcasts with Dave Pash and Bill Walton.
You talk about the West Coast basketball, and when the crew and I went down to Penn State, we stayed up all night to watch UCLA and Villanova go to overtime right there. So that's a good one. And, you know, college basketball is back in full force. Fans are back. And you got to love having packed stadiums. I mean, we can see it tonight. The Maze Rage, they never fail to come and fill up Crisler.
I mean, the crowd means so much more in college basketball than the NBA. I think the bubble was a little bit weird of an atmosphere, but empty stadiums in the NBA, those players can overcome that. You know, on every possession they pump in music, but in the NCAA, you have the fans creating that havoc on defense for their home team, and it's really exciting to watch fans pack the stadiums once again as the second half gets under 9 minutes to go in the second half.
9 minutes left. Michigan up by 6. Let's have some fun right here. So Kobe Buffkin on the elbow kicks it out to Houston. Hunter Dixon is back in the game, so expect the Wolverines to go down low. 13 left on the shot clock. Brooks is going to drive with the left hand. He has a clear lane, but he cannot get it to go. Rebounded by Seton Hall, and they're quickly coming up the floor right now.
Man, that's what Brooks can give you, but he just blew the layup.
As they turn it over right there. Bryce Aiken turns it over. Just a little bit too quick right there, forgetting to take the dribble. So we are under the 8-minute mark. Michigan still up by 6. Eli Brooks gets it across. Top of the key. Here comes Dickinson to set the screen. Pick and roll right there. Eli Brooks, oh, but he tried to get it in, but we're going to have a traveling violation called on Eli Brooks. Nonetheless, there was a Seton Hall player that was able to get a hand in there, deflected away. So ball's going to go back to the Pirates.
It's tough for the Wolverines. You'd like to see Eli Brooks be able to run the offense at point guard with his shooting ability and maybe relegate Devontae Jones to the bench to be a spark plug there on the second unit. But Eli Brooks so far running the point has not been very careful with the ball.
So here comes Roden going all the way around, drives in, gets it, doesn't get it to go, but off the iron, tipped away, and it's going to stay with the Michigan Wolverines.
Crucial possession upcoming for the Wolverines to be able to pull away in this one.
Yeah, 2-possession game, really. I mean, only a 6-point lead for the Wolverines. Not able to get any threes going, but here goes Caleb Houston out to Terrence Williams. Now Williams is going to drive to the left. He's going to give Eli Brooks. Dickinson sets the screen. They get the ball into Dickinson. Now here's Eli Brooks from the baseline, and he gets that one to go. What a nice, clean follow through by Eli Brooks. Michigan now up by 8 as we approach the 7-minute mark of this one.
Yeah, Dickinson comes up on the pick and roll, and Obiagu does a really nice job defending it, but then Dickinson rescreens for Eli Brooks as he drives in. There's not much you can do to stop that when the baseline's wide open.
Here's Roden from the elbow, off the iron, rebounded by the Wolverines. It's loose right there. Dickinson cannot come down with the ball, but it's going to stay with Seton Hall. You can see Dickinson right there. He's going to want that one back.
Yeah, without a real true four-man, it's been tough for the Wolverines to be able to box out inside for those defensive rebounds.
So Seton Hall, they're able to inbound it. Here goes Kale. He's working on Eli Brooks. Turned around, fade away, off the back iron, but we're going to have a foul. It's going to be called from the far side, and it's going to go on Terrence Williams. That is Terrence Williams' first foul of the night. So they kick it out to the corner right there, and the three-pointer is good for Jared Roden from the corner right there. 57-52 Michigan.
Yeah, the effort by Terrence Williams coming through that screen was a little lacking there. His body language after that foul was a little down. You have to wonder what Juwan will say to him.
Here goes Caleb Houston driving through the lane, gets his pocket picked, and here comes Roden. Roden from coast to coast lays it off to Aiken. Now Aiken's going to dribble it out, and Seton Hall is going to reset. So now Aiken guarded by Williams. Aiken's going to step back. He lets one fly off the iron right there, and we're going to have another foul on the Michigan Wolverines on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be called. It's going to be on Caleb Houston.
Do they bring in Big East refs for these away games? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, tough possession right there. You had 2 fouls called. And all the last 3 fouls were called on the floor. So you're going to have Ike Obiagu go to the free throw line. It's going to be a 1-and-1. Shot is up, off the back iron, but Seton Hall comes down with the rebound right there. It's Jackson. Now it's Ike out to Jackson. Back up. He's going to drive into the lane and just gets the nice fingertip roll to go in. 3-point lead for the Wolverines.
There's a good full-court press breaker by the Wolverines instead of what we were seeing earlier. You have Kobe Buffkin and Hunter Dickinson in the half court there.
15 left on the shot clock. Eli Brooks lets one fly, and he hits the back of the iron. Just a tough day for the Wolverines shooting from downtown tonight. So 3-point lead for the Wolverines. Here comes Aiken. Aiken's going to drive in, kicks it out to the corner, out to Clay, back out to Jackson. Jackson lets one fly off the back iron, rebounded by Eli Brooks.
These defensive rotations have been very poor. You have to wonder if Seton Hall is running Michigan out of gas with all their movement off the ball.
Michigan calls a timeout at the 5:09 mark left in the second half. Michigan up 57-54. Seton Hall is not going down without a fight.
Absolutely. It's been really tough for some bigger defenders like Terrence Williams to be able to keep up with those fast three-point shooters, and I think Seton Hall's done a nice job off inbounds and in set plays to set down screens and get shooters wide open to catch and shoot off the dribble, without dribbling, sorry. But the three-point, Seton Hall's been shooting the three-pointer with zero abandon. They've shot exactly half of their shots from three and only 13 twos compared to the 8 made three-pointers, but 3 is a bigger number than 2, and I think that's the reason why it's so close. Michigan has not been able to convert their three-point opportunities. They've done well inside, but it's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, and for Seton Hall, they got 2 players now in double figures, Jared Roden and Trey Jackson. Seton Hall, the Pirates were able to get behind those 2 and keep themselves in this game. You know, they're slowly picking away. As we reach that 5-minute mark to only be down by 3, this right here, these next couple of possessions, feel like whoever can set their presence is going to potentially win this game. I mean, Michigan has gone on scoreless for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and I think on defense, Michigan needs to play more physical. Seton Hall coming into this game has shot 43.8% from the line as a team, the free throw line. Tonight they've shot 4 for 8. They are not a good free throw shooting team. So I think Michigan inside cannot be worried about giving up easy opportunities from the charity stripe when they've been kind of soft rebounding and playing inside defense.
So here goes Devontae Jones out to Eli Brooks. 20 left on the shot clock. They get it to Houston in the corner. Try to get it down low to Dickinson, but Dickinson draws the foul on Obiagu.
Yeah, that looked like more of a payback foul. It's been a little bit – the contact has not been very heavy in this game, and I think the officials are –
So we're right at the 5-minute mark. Michigan up by 3, so buckle up. We got a good one here. Here goes Brandon Johns Jr. from the left elbow. Now Eli Brooks. They get it back to Brandon Johns Jr. He's going to go to work. Tries to find Dickinson cutting through, but Dickinson cannot control it. Turnover for the Wolverines. Ball back with the Pirates.
And that's another missed opportunity there by Brandon Johns. It's his first turnover, but second or third time we've seen him not really know or feel feel comfortable in the offense.
So here goes Aiken at the top of the key. He's going to drive in. Looking for support right there. He's able to find a mate. Now back out to Aiken. Aiken behind the arc, and he gets one to go. Ice-cold three-point shot right there, and we are all tied up at 57.
More poor perimeter defense there for the Wolverines. As that's
offensive foul. Hunter Dickinson right there. Jameer Harris draws the offensive foul on Dickinson. It was called for the moving screen. Third foul on Hunter Dickinson. So we are all tied up at 57, 4:24 left. The fans in Crisler Arena are not happy. So 20 seconds on the shot clock. Seton Hall is able to inbound it. They get it out to Jackson, and now it's an offensive foul. Obiagu is called for the offensive foul right there. So both teams returning favors with the offensive or the moving screens.
Yeah, I mean, Obiagu is such a solid mass that it's hard to knock him off his footing, but he did move a little bit on that screen, and his screen caused an open three. Seton Hall is going to miss it anyways. But crucial break there for the Wolverines.
Here goes Devontae Jones at the top. Dickinson sets the screen. He had him on the pick and roll. They kick it out to Brandon Johns in the corner. Now Johns, 12 left on the shot clock. They kick it all the way around the perimeter. Devontae Jones on the near side. Now Jones driving into the lane. He's going to float one up from the elbow off the glass, but we're going to have an offensive foul or a defensive foul, so it's going to stay with the Wolverines.
3:55 left. You have to be a little worried. The Wolverines have not been able to pull away, and Seton Hall has finally evened it up for the first time in a while. But I think on that last possession, you can't really be happy with Brandon Johns so far. He was wide open in the corner, passed up a shot, and I think Seton Hall has chosen to leave him open with his hesitancy to shoot and his lack of decision-making. So that's really tough for a Wolverine team that hasn't been able to shoot well, to have somebody sitting wide open in the corner like that who either won't shoot or can't shoot. So you'll have to look for maybe a change there or a change in the offense coming out of this under 4-minute timeout.
Seton Hall Pirates are on an 8-0 run over the last 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Wolverines have yet to score in 3 minutes and 13, and that's exactly why we are tied up at 57 with less than 4 minutes to go. Man, it's got everything building from, like, that 1989 game. Us two, we really remember very well that championship game in '89 when the Wolverines were able to pull it out.
Yeah, this is a really close game. It's really exciting. First close one of the year. It's a good test for Michigan, especially going into that game, going down to Chapel Hill. I think Seton Hall has been a really consistently good team over the past few years. Maybe they haven't been as good as they'd like to be, but they've been a tough out, and a lot of teams in the Big East are like that. So this type of Big East tip-off game is a good way for a younger Michigan team to test their mettle.
Yeah, and just looking at the Michigan Wolverines' upcoming schedule, they will head to Las Vegas this weekend, where they will face off with UNLV at 12:30 tip. How does that one sound on a Friday night?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's
then they'll face
tough.
the winner of, I believe, Wichita State and Arizona. So that game will be on Sunday. So Wolverines, tough schedule, really. There is not too many let-offs, and they will start Big Ten play on December 7th against Nebraska, and then they'll come back home to have their Big Ten opener here at Crisler against Minnesota on December 11th.
Those should be 2 easy wins in the Big Ten early for Michigan. I think Minnesota's been predicted to finish at the bottom of the Big Ten, and Nebraska drops to, I think, 1-3 following their loss to undefeated Creighton today. So you have to hope that those 2 games will be good tune-ups before their matchups back-to-back against Rutgers and Michigan State, 2 tough Big Ten opponents, 2 of the tougher ones beginning of the year. And then you have a really tough stretch where after those 2 games against Rutgers and Michigan State, you are home against Purdue, and then you go to Illinois. Illinois did lose to Marquette, but I think that with Kofi Cochran returning, that'll be a really interesting matchup against Hunter Dickinson. And then you still going against this incredibly deep Big Ten conference. You have Maryland and Indiana. You go to Indiana at Assembly Hall, which is always a tough game to play. So maybe you'd like a better balance of tough games in the schedule, but it's the way it shakes out.
But before we go, the Wolverines got to take care of the Pirates here. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Eli Brooks is going to drive in, kicks it out to Houston at the top of the key. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Caleb Houston kicks it out to now Devontae Jones in the corner. Jones lets one fly, and Jones rips the net right there as Michigan is up now 60-57 over the Seton Hall Pirates. Now Aiken coming back right there. Does Seton Hall have an answer? Aiken at the elbow. Now he's going to drive baseline in the corner, kicks it out to Jackson. Jackson out to Harris at the top of the key. They're able to get it in the corner to Kale. Kale almost with the up and down. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Now here goes Seton Hall right there. It's going to be Roden, and Roden gets the bucket to go. Cuts the lead down to 1. 3:08 left.
Silences the crowd, and I think it's safe to say that these 2 teams have regressed to the mean shooting-wise. Michigan is 3 for 4 in their last has made 3 of their last 4 3-point attempts. Seton Hall is almost up to 40% shooting from the field.
13 left on the clock. Dickinson sets the screen. Devontae Jones rolls off it. 9 seconds left to get it. They try to get it to Dickinson, but a turnover there by the Wolverines, and Roden comes up with the rebound out to Aiken. Wolverines now, you got to play defense. 2:40 left. Michigan up by 1. Aiken now, Hunter Dickinson with the help defense. Aiken still controls it. 16 left on the shot clock. Aiken out to Roden in the corner. Roden behind the arc. He lets one fly off the iron. Almost an off defensive rebound, but we have a foul called on Michigan, and it's going to go on Devontae Jones, his second foul of the night.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been kind of ticky-tack fouls, and even fouls in favor of the Wolverines have been a little bit soft. But that's the way the game's being called, so you have to play in that way. Here's Obiagu. He's not a good free throw shooter. He has not made a free throw yet this year.
0 for 1 from the line right now. It's a 1-and-1 for Obiagu. Shot is up, and it is through the net. That one must feel good, and we are all tied up again at 60.
Yeah, that's his first free throw make of the season. He's got a really, it looks uncomfortable release, but he's just so big that it's hard to blame him.
Seton Hall has yet to lead in the second half. Can Obiagu give him the lead right now? Takes a deep breath. He lets one go, and it rims out. Rebound by Dickinson. All tied up at 62-23 left. Eli Brooks brings it across. He's being guarded by Kale. Now Eli Brooks, he's going to drive it into the baseline. Left-handed layup is good off the glass. That's Eli Brooks' shot right there. Michigan back out on top by 2:06 left. Aiken bringing up the ball, guarded by Devontae Jones. Now here goes Aiken behind the back. 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Here comes the screen. Now Aiken's going to drive in, step back. Nice creation right there, and he gets the two-pointer to flow right back. This is a hard, heavy fight. You know, they're just trading punches so far.
Yeah, we're still going shot for shot. I think last possession, it was good to see Eli Brooks be able to break that Seton Hall defense. They've made a concerted effort in the second half to limit those Dickinson drop-offs that were killing them.
So here goes Devontae Jones when we're all tied up at 62. 15 left on the shot clock. Devontae Jones driving in the baseline, but there's too many people right there. Kicks it out to Caleb Houston. Now Caleb Houston from the elbow. He's going to drive in with the left hand. Stops on the elbow. Fadeaway is no good right there. Rebounded by Seton Hall, but Hunter Dickinson is down on the floor. He is not happy with that one, but here comes Aiken, and Aiken draws the defensive foul as Devontae Jones gets called for a block, and Crisler is not happy with that one.
I mean, let's look at the replay, but it's a really tough call, block charge. I don't know. If they show it, we'll see if he got there late. Maybe it looked like for a second, but all it's led to is the Maze Rage serenading the referees with some nice chants. But again, they show the replay. Caleb Houston's missed shot and Hunter Dickinson being dragged to the ground. Yeah, he didn't have his feet set. He got there a little too late. That's a block.
It looked like Devontae Jones was just trying to, return the favor. Hunter Dickinson was taken down to the ground. No foul was called right there. Referees call the foul, the block on Devontae Jones. We're going to review it, but it looks pretty clear from up here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do that in that scenario when you have a player running with a head of steam to get in front of him and try and draw the charge, but just a little too late. I think on that last shot by Houston, I don't know if you want him dribbling and shooting a fadeaway shot like that when he has not had his shot tonight. We said that maybe he needed some free throws to get him going, but he made a layup. He's still 1 for 9, 0 4 from 3. He is 2 for 2 from the line. So you have to think Eli Brooks will be the one getting the ball in crunch time. He's got 17 points, shooting 7 of 14. Pick and roll action, something like that with Hunter Dickinson, who's shooting 8 for 11 from the field, but he slowed down considerably in the second half. Seton Hall's been really good at denying the ball with Obiagu. It'll be interesting to see what Juwan Howard draws up out of this timeout.
So for the Seton Hall Pirates, they're going to send out Bryce Aiken, Trey Jackson, Ike Obiagu, Jared Roden, and Miles Kale. And Bryce Aiken is going to go to the line to shoot 2 for the Seton Hall Pirates. All tied up at 62 right now. 1:15 left in the second half. First shot is short off the iron. This is Aiken's first free throw, or first chance at the free throw line as he gets the second one to go through. They're up by 1 now. 1:13 left in the second half. Devontae Jones bringing it up for the Wolverines, guarded by Cale. Dickinson sets the screen. Now Devontae Jones in the right corner, kicks it out to Caleb Houston. 16 left on the shot clock. Houston drives in. Now down low to Brandon Johns. Brandon Johns, he's going to post up. He gets one to flick off, but Dickinson comes with the rebound. Dickinson draws the foul, but he cannot get the shot to go. So Dickinson's going to go to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, and the Pirates have really been they've been stopping Dickinson from receiving the entry pass off the pick and roll, and that's limited him. But off the offensive rebound, that shot was left really short.
The first shot is good for Hunter Dickinson. This is his first trip to the free throw line tonight. And we're all tied up at 63 now as Terrence Williams is going to check into the game. Brandon Johns Jr. is going to the bench.
Yeah, and Johns Jr., I don't know if Juwan Howard wants him out there in crunch time. He's been a little bit lackluster offensively so far today.
Yeah, we mentioned it before. You know, he had a couple of opportunities to shoot the 3, doesn't do it as Hunter Dickinson gets both free throws to go. Michigan up by 1 now, 52 seconds left. Aiken is bringing the ball up across. He's being guarded by Devontae Jones. Now Aiken kicks it out to Jackson. Jackson with the ball. Obiagu sets the screen. Here comes a double team by the Wolverines. 14 left on the shot clock. Ball is in Aiken. That's who you want to have the ball right now, Bryce Aiken. But we're going to have a foul on Devontae Jones. That's a tough one right there. Devontae Jones' 3rd personal foul.
I mean, it looked like he went straight up, trying to sort of get in the way of Aiken, but maybe the ref saw that he sort of had his feet open a little bit, not really set, but.
So Aiken's going to shoot 2 free throws from the line. First one is up, and we're tied up at 64. Aiken is 2 for 3 from the line tonight.
He's been ice cold when it matters.
This one would give Seton Hall the lead. Shot is up, and it is good. Now does Juwan Howard want to call a timeout? Ball is inbounded to Jones, and Jones is going to go straight up to Howard, and he wants that timeout. With 29.4 left, 26 left on the shot clock. Wolverines could potentially hold this for that last second type of shot. You want to draw it up good, so I'll throw it out to you. You're the coach right now. What do you draw up for the Wolverines?
You have to get your 2 best players involved, Eli Brooks and Hunter Dickinson. It's been working well all game. And Eli Brooks, even with the denial of the pick and roll offense that Seton Hall's been able to do, Eli Brooks has shown the creativity to be able to get something outside of dumping it off to Dickinson, which I think you've seen from Devontae Jones tonight. You've seen from other guards that have not been able to create their own offense. Just dump it down to the big man and see what happens. But Eli Brooks gives you that extra dimension to the pick and roll offense that's really important. And I think you want the ball in his hands. He's the longest tenured Wolverine right now. He's just the guy. He's been the guy tonight, 17 points. Dickinson's got 18 now, but those are just your 2 best players. You need to get them involved on the last play of the game.
Yeah, I would say with 26 left on the shot clock, about a 3.4-second difference between the 2. You want, at the 20-second mark on the shot clock, you want to get it going. You want to try to get Dickinson down low on the block, and that's exactly what Seton Hall is going to expect. And then you could kick it out to the corner to have an Eli Brooks or a Devontae Jones. But here we go. Devontae Jones on the left elbow. Wolverines going right away. He's going to drive in, gives it to Eli Brooks. Now Eli Brooks drives into the lane, up off the glass. It rims off. A loose ball right there is going to be recovered by Seton Hall, and Michigan Wolverines need to foul, and they do, and they foul Miles Cale.
That's the action you wanted, and Eli Brooks just missed the shot. It's unfortunate, but that was a good look. Tough floater, but I think Seton Hall is a poor free throw shooting team. They picked it up so far here in the second half, but they're 57% from the line, so you have to expect that they're going to miss one of these shots.
Yeah, Miles Cale will head to the free throw line for the first time tonight.
We have somebody with 5 fouls.
I believe it might.
It's Devontae Jones. He's going to have to leave the game. because the PA announcer just announced it's his 5th personal.
I thought it was his 4th.
Stats I have in front of me show it's his 5th, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was a miscommunication.
Yeah, but this plays into the favor of Seton Hall right now. So exactly, you can see their coach doing it. You know, if Michigan's up by, or if Seton Hall can extend this to 3, do you want to foul? Personally, the way the Wolverines have been shooting all night, I would let them shoot the 3.
Yeah, and you put Kobe Buffkin in the game. I trust him. He's a young player, but he's played well tonight. So we'll see what can happen.
So you got Miles Kale at the free throw line. First shot is up, and it is off the back iron. Miles Kale misses the first one. Seton Hall has nobody down low to get the rebound right here. They believe in their man that he can sink this one. Second shot is up, and it is through, and Seton Hall is up by 2. Now Eli Brooks is coming up with the ball. 12 seconds left in the game, and the Wolverines are going to call a timeout with 10-4 left in this one.
Yeah, and obviously now you have to think without Devontae Jones in the game, what Michigan does running a play out of this timeout. I don't think you give it to Caleb Houston. He hasn't had his shot. I think Kobe Buffkin is too young, so it's got to be Dickinson or Brooks, but you worry if that's been too predictable today.
It's been the most reliable, though, for the Wolverines. Dickinson with 18 points tonight, 31 minutes, 10.4 left in this one. You got to expect it. It's going to go to Dickinson, and then you got to throw it out. I mean, it's a two-point game right now, so you don't need a 3.
You shouldn't shoot a 3 with the way they've been shooting. I mean, 20%, 3 of 15. Seton Hall has finally got it up. They're 9 of 30, but you got to go for the 2-pointer. Get deep in the paint and hope Eli Brooks can either hit a shot or Hunter Dickinson can gather a rebound and put it back up. He's so strong, he's able to do that.
Out there for the Wolverines, Kobe Buffkin, Caleb Houston, Eli Brooks, Hunter Dickinson, and Terrence Williams. Kobe Buffkin to inbound to Eli Brooks. Eli Brooks at the block M. Dickinson sets the screen. Eli Brooks is going to drive in. He had the opportunity right there. Kicks it out to Terrence Williams. 3 left on the game clock. Terrence Williams is going to lob one up, and he draws the foul. Terrence Williams with the foul right there, getting bailed out by Jared Roden right there. That's a tough foul. Now the question is it 2 or 3 shots?
I don't know what Eli Brooks was doing. He had a wide open lane under the basket. I think you got to put something up there, but he passes it out to Terrence Williams.
Nonetheless, Terrence Williams is going to head to the free throw line. First shot is up, and it is short. 0.8 left on the shot clock. So right now, the best thing you can do is just leave it short and hope Hunter Dickinson can get up there. But with 0.8 of a second left, it has to be a tip in.
Diabate's in there too. They got all their big bodies. You got to have a miracle happen.
So Terrence Williams receives the ball now. Shot is up, off, and he banks it in right there. 65-66. Seton Hall inbounds it to Aiken, and right away Wolverines are able to foul, but 0.2 of a second left on the shot clock. That should just about do it.
That will do it. I mean, I don't think I think the rule is what, 0.3? You can touch it and it'll be a legal shot. So,
I mean, with this one right here, it doesn't really matter what Aiken does. You should just honestly miss it.
Yeah, miss
Make
both,
the Wolverines rebound it.
You can't gather and shoot in less than 0.7 seconds, I think. So,
first shot is up, and it is good.
It'll be Michigan's first loss of the year.
Bryce Aiken with a huge sigh of relief right there. Now with his second shot opportunity. Leaves that one short, rebounded by Dickinson. Dickinson just lobs it up and over the backboard. The Seton Hall Pirates come into Crisler Arena and shock the Wolverines, handing them their first loss of the season. Final score, 67-65.
It's a bit of a letdown. I must say the Wolverines had the opportunity to win this game, but shots didn't fall. Seton Hall got lucky on a couple of them, and then Seton Hall made the shots when it mattered. Michigan didn't. Seton Hall locked up on defense. I thought Michigan played excellent defense in the first half, but they couldn't continue that effort in the second, and that's what really swung the game.
Yeah, the Wolverines were not able to get that, knockout punch. We mentioned it, It was really surprising to see that they did not score a 3-point for 3/4 of this game.
They were 0 for 11.
Yeah, 0 for 11 to start, and you cannot do that. I mean, they got a lot of points down low to go, Hunter Dickinson, but Seton Hall was able to figure out, what they want to do. And, you give credit to Ike Obiagu. He did not do a lot maybe in the stats book. I mean, 1 point, but he had to go against Hunter Dickinson. There's only so much you can do against Hunter Dickinson.
And I think the ability to shut down Hunter Dickinson really was, it's been a really hard task, and he's still at 18 points. We're talking about stopping Hunter Dickinson, and he scored 18 points. But the guard play, besides Eli Brooks, and in crunch time, Eli Brooks was not making the shots he needed to make. It just wasn't there.
Yeah, the Wolverines ending the night shooting 3 of 15 from downtown. Not a good night behind the arc. I mean, you had Caleb Houston with 4 points tonight, 1 of 9 from the field. Devontae Jones got his 11 points. Eli Brooks, 17 points. But you go back to that final possession right there with the Wolverines. Eli Brooks starting at the top of the key, drives around, and then down the baseline has the great opportunity to lay it up. Just the easy layup off the glass, doesn't elect to do it, kicks it out to the corner. Terrence Williams has no other choice other than to get a shot up, draws the foul, goes to the free throw line, leaves the first free throw short, second one banks off the glass. Nonetheless, the Seton Hall Pirates come into Crisler Arena, and they steal one from the Wolverines. Will, what are your final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think you have to wonder if the forward play going forward is going to be, an insurmountable thing for the Wolverines. I think they have a lot of guard depth, but Brandon Johns and Terrence Williams were underwhelming tonight, and you have to wonder if that's not going to be a great thing moving forward.
So the Wolverines will have to quickly rebound on this one as they will head to Las Vegas for the tournament, and when they will face UNLV, a 12:30 tip. It'll be a late night. Unfortunately, we will not be able to call that one. But your final score from Crisler Center, the Seton Hall Pirates 67, Michigan Wolverines 65. Jared Greenspan and Adam Bressler had the first half. In the second half, it was William Gregory and Amer Bektas. The Wolverines get handed their first loss of the season tonight.